My son's dad just moved in with his new girlfriend, but she really doesn't like his kids.
Ooh, that seems like a deal breaker.
My 32 5-year-old son's dad, Jacob, 34, moved in with his girlfriend, Anna, 35, over a year ago, and I found out that she does not like children. I don't really know this woman. She refuses to acknowledge me in any capacity. I'm not allowed in their home, and she does everything she can to avoid me. I have let this slide because there was some overlap between her and I. By the way, this comes from Deleted on the r/2hottakes subreddit, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/okstorytime subreddit and send it in. So Jacob and I have been toying with the idea of getting back together when they met. After they made it official, him and I failed to enforce boundaries. While we never slept together, we definitely had one night where things got too close. He told her about it. She was upset, but they decided to stay together and work on it. She moved in with him about 5 months later. I'm probably a bit naive, but I didn't really realize that she was harboring negative feelings towards me at first. When my son would speak positively about her, I would text her to tell her the good things that he was saying. I would thank her for being so sweet to him. In retrospect, I'm not really sure that she responded to those messages. I started getting the vibe that she was really unhappy when I would FaceTime my son. Either she would leave the room or Jacob would take my son into another room and close the door. I started noticing that she seemed to be avoiding me in situations where we would normally cross paths. I asked Jacob about this, and he kind of played it off. He said that she doesn't really want to talk to me, but it's not a huge deal. I tried to respect her space, but understanding that it must be difficult. Then one night, my son told me that he felt nervous when I called because Anna doesn't like me and she says mean things about me. Since then, I've been trying to get some forward momentum on actually working on the problem that she has with me. I tried texting her a long apology. If I'm honest, I probably focused too much on trying to get her to understand where I was mentally when we betrayed her trust. Although I personally don't really know her, I can understand how a text message focusing on excusing my behavior would be received poorly. She was pretty livid about it. I continued trying to give them space, even though I do find it very frustrating. I've been trying to separate my personal hurt from what actually affects my son. I know that he struggles with it, but I also see where she puts in the effort. I try to focus on the good things because so much feels like it's out of my control. Anyways, one day she asked to have my son on a day that he would normally be at his grandma's. His sister was coming to town and she wanted my son to meet her nieces and nephews. This made me feel really emotional because it made me feel like she loves and appreciates him as an individual and not just as a byproduct of his father. I reached out 2 weeks later to thank her and to tell her how much it means to me. She responded a couple of days after saying that we should all get together and talk. Felt really grateful and hopeful. Today was the day and we all might get together to talk. She came in pretty hot, having issues with things that I never would have anticipated. One of which seemed to be that she feels like I am pressuring her to have a relationship with my son. She made it very clear that she was there for Jacob and no one else. She kept saying that we can't force her to have a relationship with my son because it's pushing them farther apart. She said that she's trying to learn to love him because she loves Jacob. She keeps dismissing my son's feelings by saying that she has high standards and he's not used to rules. When we were leaving at the end, she asked me if I had anything I needed to say. I kind of said it like a joke, but I said, I'm just wondering how you don't love my son because he's just so lovable. So her response to that was that she doesn't like people and that kids are just people who have no consideration for anyone else. I'm not really good at processing things in real time, so as the night continued, I feel more and more sad. I hate the idea that the other half of my son's life is being spent with someone who sees him as a chore. I know that he can sense it. He's used to being daddy's boy, but over the last few months, he is sad when he has to go to his dad's house. He says it's just because he loves me more and feels closer to me. I feel like I am now realizing that it's because he doesn't feel wanted over there. So Jacob and I, the father, talked on the phone after Anna went to sleep and I expressed my concerns. I asked him how it doesn't hurt him that our son is so desperately seeking the approval of somebody who does not like him. He says it does make him sad, but they are trying to work on it. I just don't really think that this is something you can work on in a relationship. No matter how badly she wants to be who Jacob needs her to be, if she doesn't like children, that's not something that just goes away. And as he gets older, he's going to continue to push boundaries, and I'm just not sure she has the temperament for it. It's also not really my place, but I just feel so worried and sad. What do I do? Is there anything I can do? Sorry for the long post. I felt the backstory was important, and we have an edit coming up. I really don't know how to use Reddit, so I'm sorry if I'm doing this wrong. I wasn't really expecting to get eaten alive in the comments. Lol. Here are some clarifications. I'm not incessantly texting her. In the beginning, I thought sharing the positive things my son shared would be affirming, but I noticed that she didn't seem so keen on it, so I stopped. I didn't text her again until my son said that she was talking badly about me. I had been noticing some bad tension for a while and had been bringing it up to Jacob. I said that our son was eventually going to notice and it would impact him. He kept telling me they were working on it. I called his dad and, of course, found out that he hadn't talked to her about it at all.
The dad hasn't done anything.
He literally hasn't gone, to his...
Man is a noodle spine.
I told him
people
that he needed to talk to her and come to me with a plan by the next week, or I would be reducing time. He told me that she didn't receive this well and was unwilling to work on changing anything because she says she never speaks negatively about me around him. I told him he needed to talk to her and come to me with a plan by next week, or I would be reducing time, reducing the custody. He told me that she didn't receive this well and was unwilling to work on changing anything because she says she never speaks negatively about me around him. I obviously don't believe my son is lying. This was when I decided to reach out directly and apologize to her again. First time was immediately after it happened. She didn't receive it well, and in retrospect, I can recognize that trying to get her to understand my POV was unlikely to be productive. I've been trying to make sure I am only reacting to things that affect my son and not to things that may personally offend me. I want to be fair and reasonable. I was hoping we could work on it together to make the environment less tense for my son. My son hasn't mentioned it again, so I was hoping that it got better. His dad's only solution was to have her hand my son the phone when I called. My son doesn't really say bad things about her often. He mostly speaks positively, which is why I haven't been pushing harder for a change or to reduce time. She's been spending a lot more time doing activities with him, so I've been feeling so grateful that she's taking the time to make him a priority. I keep seeing people say that she's not his stepmom, but they live together. She is making house rules for him to abide by. I want to be supportive of them building a bond. I have felt like I don't want her to be discouraged by the concerns that came up. So I texted her last week to tell her I could see that she's really trying and I appreciate it. She responded that we should meet and chat, and I kind of thought that I cracked the code. Lol. I was not anticipating her negative energy, to be honest. Now, while my son doesn't really say bad things about her, I do feel like I have been seeing changes in his behavior. Not wanting to go to his dad's house is new. Favoring me so blatantly is new. Him exhibiting a lot of anxiety at night. He doesn't want me to leave him alone. He says he feels alone and at night it's scary. I finally got us in with a play therapist. We had one session and I have been hoping that this will uncover if there's underlying issues I'm unaware of, and if not, just give him the tools that he needs to cope. I just found out last night that she doesn't like kids. I fear that she had a cold and strict temperament, but also didn't really think that I would be the best judge of her character considering the circumstances. Seeing how she really feels about my son is crystallizing a lot of my son's behavior change. I was hoping the effort I was seeing was coming from a genuine place of wanting what is best for the child in the situation. She made it very clear, however, that it is only about Jacob. I told her that the relationship doesn't exist in a vacuum. She got upset and her and Jacob started arguing. I honestly started having trouble tracking the conversation at that point, and it went off the rails for a bit. In general, I struggle to trust my perspective on things. I want to be sure I'm not overreacting or being unfair. Anyways, I need to get my son ready for the day. I will check back in later. We have an update. So this subreddit is brutal. I have never written on Reddit before, but I love the podcast, so thought I would try. The advice I get from people in my life is, of course, biased. Things with my kid's dad changed shortly after he was brought home from the NICU. I found out a lot of things that made me realize he isn't who I thought. At the time, I vowed to myself that I would never let my feelings about things he has done to me dictate the decisions I made for my child. I would say bad partner, good dad. I guess I'm not doing a very good job at that because maybe I'm overcompensating by being too forgiving. But anyways, I'm trying. I don't want the decisions I make for my son to be clouded by my personal hurt and rage. At the end of all of this, the point really got lost, and I found that I am primarily just trying to stand up for myself. I don't believe I am beyond reproach, but I also don't think a lot of the responses here were fair. In regards to the overlap everyone was referencing, I didn't give details because I didn't think that they were relevant. I thought the context was important in understanding my perspective may not be accurate because I do not know her at all for what I have felt is a valid reason. I don't know how to take the weight of words of a 5-year-old and a man known to be a habitual liar because I literally know nothing about her. Before this weekend, I had never even seen her in person. We had only talked on the phone once, and it was her asking me what happened. The cheating she knows is that it was a back rub and he got too handsy. When she met him, I'm pretty sure he told her that I was sapphic. When she called me, she did say say if I was so starved for touch, I should find a girlfriend. Haha. The truth is that Jacob was going on for months saying he wanted to try our relationship again. He was telling me he wanted to have another child together. We had started regularly doing family time, which made my son so happy. I knew he was also casually dating, but we weren't actually together or anything, so I wasn't concerned. After a while, I started considering trying again for the sake of my son. The family time was fun, and I enjoyed seeing my son so happy. I told Jake that we could try, but we'd have to go to therapy. In that conversation, he told me he met somebody that he could see a future with. I should have completely cut him off at that moment, but I did not. Yeah, I think OP's letting him get away with it. We continued doing family time, and he continued to come over during the day when I was coming home just to hang out. He would try to be affectionate and hold my hand or play with my hair, and I would tell him to stop. He would then talk about feeling confused and tell me he loves me right after he found someone he sees a future with. He came over to my birthday because my son was so sick. He brought over dinner, edibles, and booze. Oh my God. Whoa. I don't drink, but I did have an edible after my son went to sleep. He was saying I shouldn't be so stressed out on my birthday. He offered me a back rub, which we did regularly before he told me about the girl he saw a future with. At first I said no, but eventually I convinced myself that it wasn't that big of a deal. He got really weird and aggressive. He then tried getting on top of me, and I told him to stop before he finally got off. I was livid and could not stop crying. Then he started crying again and again and started talking about being so confused because he loves me. I made him leave, but the next day he came back early in the morning to bring me breakfast in bed. I made him leave again and refused to speak to him. I just did not know what to say. Called me a few days later from outside her parents' house crying and telling me that he was in love with her. He said that she can never know what we did together. I effing hate this man. I told him that if he really loved her, he wouldn't start this relationship on a lie. A few days after that, she calls me. I felt cornered. I didn't know what to say, and I agreed with his aforementioned lie. I know that through her point of view, I am the affair partner, but it just didn't feel like that. The comment section, though, has made it pretty clear that my perspective on my own innocence isn't accurate. I felt like if she could forgive him, then I don't understand why she can't forgive me. In terms of the custody, we do have a parenting plan. We share 60-40. I have 60%. In terms of the phone call, I didn't strategically wait until she was sleeping to voice my concerns. He called to debrief, and I said that the way she spoke about my son worried me. This man is an effing weirdo and started talking about how it worries him too, and that I should call and ask his best friend because he would tell me that he has noticed it too. I'm obviously not going to do that. It's weird and irrelevant to me. He keeps saying he's not stupid and he sees the same potential issues, but they are working on it, and that if he doesn't see any improvement, he would end it. He's never ended a single relationship. He just cheats. In terms of the texts, people keep saying I'm stalking her. I am not. There have been 5 total texts over a year. The first apology was right after she called me. I said I was sorry and that nothing like that would ever happen again because we were no longer going to socialize outside of phone calls about her son. And again, OP is so totally 10 million % within her right to be like, he did this to me. I'm a victim in this situation.
I mean, we should. How much does she know that is the case? Like, has she been educated on this?
I think she doesn't know. So OP agreed to do the lie that Jacob wanted. All. Yeah, so she doesn't know. 2, because my son had said nice things, and I thought it would just be nice to know he was saying nice stuff. Then I started noticing tension, so I stopped until I found out that she was talking badly about me in front of my son. I don't know how she felt so strongly about me because I hadn't had communication with Jacob about anything outside of our son since I promised her that I was backing off a year prior. I was never under the impression that she was purposefully trying to alienate me from my son. I just thought her anger was so loud, we couldn't hide it from her.
Oh, you're getting me.
I know. Boy. I'm infected. Yeah.
Jeez.
I was hoping that apologizing again and opening the door for conversation would fix the issue. The last one was last week. I felt like I was seeing a lot of positive effort because the way my son was talking about her had changed. I just wanted to thank her for being so kind to him, and I also wanted to apologize that my last text upset her so much. Jake told me it made her mad. She didn't respond. This time, she texted me back and said that we should meet up. So on the meeting, she was angry about things that I didn't anticipate. She said I lied about what's happening when she called me. That is true. I don't know what part she thinks is a lie, but I was definitely dishonest. She thinks it's inappropriate that I have a relationship with Jake's mom. It has been rocky, but even periods where Jacob and I don't talk, her and I have always maintained a relationship. She was angry that I told my son his dad has a tattoo on his butt because I shouldn't be talking about her boyfriend's butt. If you guys think that's also weird, my son has been looking at my tattoos and asked if his dad has any. She felt like the positive texts were an attempt to pressure her and that my apologies are just me dumping on her emotionally. That was never my intention, but I told her that I understood that now and that I know what her boundaries are. I can adjust my behavior. She received it really well. The meeting ended in smiles from her, and she thanked me and told me that if I really have something important to say, call her. However, throughout the conversation, all these little comments she made about my son, their time together, and her high expectations bothered me. Again, I am not good at confrontation, so I said that I don't understand how she didn't already love my son in a jokey type voice. That was when she said she is trying to learn to like him, but she doesn't like people, and children are people with no consideration. I felt fake as F that conversation objectively went well, but I am now more concerned than I was. I thought we had a small hurdle of her not liking me. I was never thinking I was going to get her like me, but I thought that if I could ease her rage, the environment wouldn't feel so stressful for my son. It now feels bigger than I first anticipated because it's not just about me. She is fighting more than just hatred for me. People feel like I am only focusing on her. That is because we have already gone to court. The only thing that would change my POV on the current arrangement is that if she isn't safe for him. By the way, what's always a safe space is our show. You can listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeart, your favorite pod app, and search OK Storytime. People are saying I should take him from his dad's care immediately, but we do have a legal agreement and there are no obvious signs of it. His behavior has changed. I am noticing that he's anxious and doesn't want to leave my house to go to his dad's. I don't want to do something rash and withhold him without any due cause. Anyways, I have to be done here. My feelings are thoroughly hurt. I will never look for advice on the internet again. Lol. Your girl should probably just find a therapist of her own because F, I am realizing there are more issues here than just the girlfriend doesn't like kids. Thank you for those of you who are nice to me. The end.
My partner cheated on me, but my U.S. legal status depends on her.
Ooh, that's tough. Tight spot.
You're going to have to stay with a cheater to stay in the United States.
Rough.
World we live in. I met my girlfriend over a year ago while on a J1 visa in the U.S. I met her only 9 days after arriving, so we basically spent my entire 3 months there together. We fell in love pretty fast and had an amazing time. We knew I had to go home at the end of the 3 months, but we had many deep conversations about us and what we wanted. We decided we'd give being in a long-distance relationship a shot. By the way, this comes from Strange Holiday 66, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, I left the States, and about 4 weeks later, she came to visit me in my home country. It was like a movie, showing her the small town I grew up in, and all the places I went as a kid. We'd even did a little trip around some other nearby countries. We both had a very convenient work situation where we could be remote, so every 6 months, one of us would go visit another for a month. That's fire. On the past days we were apart, we would FaceTime every single day and never missed a day. Talking to her was so easy. It got to a stage where we realized that going back and forth wasn't suitable, so we looked into moving into the same country together. She happens to be a European citizen through her dad, so it made sense for her to at least try to move to my country for a bit and make work remotely. We had a great time, but we realized pretty quickly that the lifestyle in my country wasn't really suited for us and the life we wanted. And the job market is completely trash. So we decided that because everything about the relationship was perfect, we would get legally married so I could live with her in the States. Eagle noise. It made more sense even for things outside of the relationship. For example, I have a STEM degree that would pay extremely well in the city she's from, and it's very hard for me to get a STEM job in my hometown. She also has a very close relationship with her family, and I'm on good terms with mine, but definitely not as close. Anyways, I'm extremely excited for this new life in the US. I have a lot of friends in her city from living there, and I have the potential to make a serious amount of money. I came to the US and we legally got married. And while I'm waiting for my green card, I was able to get an EAD work permit with which I have secured a dream job in this dream city that is paying me 3x the amount more money than any job I've ever had in my life. I started the job yesterday and he's with this dream girl.
Everything's so perfect. I think we just end the story. We're happy.
not doing that
Everyone's
poll.
happy.
We just leave it as is.
Everything's okay. OP doesn't seem to know about the cheating yet. I'm really worried.
Or there isn't any.
Or there isn't any cheating. But, I think you just, right now, you keep working in this relationship until you get that green card.
Yeah. And then after 2 years, you're off the hook. Anyways, around the time of the anniversary of us deciding to be exclusive, she started acting weird when I was talking about it and saying a happy day and we should mark the occasion. She didn't respond to my text about it and avoided the conversation when I talked about it in person. She put it down to being so stressed out at work, and to be fair, she does have a stressful job, so I believed her. But I still had a weird feeling in my stomach. So I said it again a few weeks later that we should do something to mark the occasion now that work is less stressful, even if it's late now. She got weird about it again.
No,
So I
you're
then decided to have a little
Don't
snoop.
do it. Don't snoop.
Which I'm not proud of, but I know it's frowned upon by many. But we have talked about it and given each other license to snoop. She snoops on my phone all the time, and I don't care as I have nothing to hide. Anyway, all I did was search the name of the guy. She was seeing before me in her text, and all I saw is what I needed to know.
No.
She was just asking him about like travel recommendations
Yeah.
because they used to like travel a lot.
They
So he's like,
travel
hey,
together.
I'm going to his home country. What should I do to surprise him?
She said, hey, I'm traveling to that.
I understood what you were going for, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
The next morning, I was in a terrible mood, and she could see this. So after persistently asking why, I said that I saw something on her phone, and I needed her to explain it to me honestly. Long story short, she had hooked up with this guy about a week after we had become
No.
exclusive. They went on a dinner date, went to a nightclub after, and went back to her apartment
Girl.
where I had stayed the night before this happened and the night after this happened and had spicy sleep.
Girl.
I'm heartbroken and I don't know what to do. We had such a dream relationship and everything is great other than this. I also can't stay in this dream job in this really cool city if we break up. The situation in my home country is kind of bleak, so I'm conflicted for these reasons. She also said that if I decided to leave her, she completely understands, but also doesn't want to wait around pretending to be with me until I get my green card. I know we're in the early days, and I understand long distance is tough, but I think I have a right to be sad if she has spicy sleep with someone else after we agreed to be exclusive. Does anyone have thoughts on what I should do? Update.
Ooh, man. This is tricky. Because, like,
this
normally
is,
I'd be like, leave her,
Yeah.
obviously.
Oh,
But the green card stuff makes it's tricky. Sam Chan or Sam Chan, you cheated, so now you owe me a citizenship.
Yep.
You cheated, so you got to marry me. It's the rules.
Yeah.
Hannah says, shoot, yeah, is there another way you can get at least like a work green card temporarily? Okay, she's over it now. What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be good because he does have a job.
I would just say, like, I don't want to continue this relationship, but if you could give me a little bit of time to get everything sorted, because I don't want to necessarily leave the country right now,
Yeah.
but I will, like, do whatever I can to get a green card or some sort of visa extension right now. Yeah.
We got an update. I guess more people responded to my post than I expected. And I said I'd give you an update, so here it is. Oh man, so much crap has happened, and I don't know where to begin. I just want to let the dust settle a bit before I posted anything else. But anyway, here I am, and I'll try to keep it as short as I can. Long story short, I didn't want to leave the United States and my job, but I'm also not a complete psychopath, and I can't fake a relationship for 2+ years to get a green card. My guilty conscience would unalive me. So I decided to try and make the marriage genuinely work. Yes, I talked to a lawyer about it. By the way, we had very unproductive arguments about it all initially. I had her sister calling me, telling me I need to just get over it because dating in California is brutal and I should be okay with cheating. I also found out a whole lot more crap about her. This isn't the first time she cheated. She cheated on other mostly significant boyfriends before me with her old boss from work multiple times.
No.
And continued to hook up with the boss until a couple of months before we met.
No.
Some boss.
Some boss. Whoa. No. Girl, what is this she
Dude.
doing? Why are
What?
you getting into relationships? Stop it.
Yeah, and stop leading this guy on. That's
Like,
so
serious
crazy. You cheat
relationships?
relationships and then get someone to go to your country.
Yeah, to fly out to you.
To the United States, you get everything settled, and then you're like, I'm not so sure about this
knowing
one.
that knowing that she's already cheated on him.
Knowing that she's already cheated on him, and then put him in like, hey,
Yeah.
here's everything you've ever wanted. I cheated on you, by the way.
And you have to leave. Bye.
Like, what?
Messed up.
That is so messed up in the head.
Like, how can you live
Like, do it
with
to someone in the
yourself?
United States. Don't do it to someone else in
Yeah.
another country. You know?
if you're gonna do
Don't
it?
do it, but the priority list is
Yeah.
United States.
Don't do it to this
a
guy.
country. Why is this relevant, you ask? Because around when she told me this, I realized that this was the same work friend who calls her all the time and sends her risky
The
texts
boss.
and often asks to hang out outside of work
The boss.
or at work at least a couple of times a month, and she always entertains
The
it.
boss.
Then found out she was still on dating apps for the first 6 months of us being officially boyfriend and girlfriend. I still to this day don't know if anything came from that, but who knows? I don't like it. There was some more smaller things, which I won't get into right now, but you get the idea. Long story short, she eventually admits to being in the wrong here. Sincerely, I think. Apologizes after some therapy, etc. And the dust appears to be settling. She gets it all out. It's calming down.
Wait.
Psych!
Oh, okay, good.
It continues and gets gradually worse. So, a few months later, we're not arguing anymore. All seems fine, except we almost never have spicy sleep. Sometimes I try to initiate and she just rejects it. Maybe we'd have spicy sleep twice a month. Not ideal, but worse things can happen. Anyway, we go to a couple of parties, but each time we go to one, she gets wasted.
Girl.
This girl usually barely drinks. She's quite small though, so I'm thinking a little booze could go a long ways on her. Anyways, I start finding these kratom supplies in her car and in her purse, etc. For those who don't know about it, look at some Reddit threads about it. This crap is highly regular user and ruins people's lives. Oh, so it's like
yeah.
a substance.
Yeah.
And it really affects how you deal with booze. So anyways, I bring it up to her that I found these kratom shots, and I hope it's not a way of self-harming. It erupts into a huge argument. She starts telling me she doesn't like telling me about her problems. It was so much easier with her ex, who she cheated on with her old boss. Says she doesn't want to have spicy sleep because of little things I do think she thinks are unattractive. Some examples of these are, I used Google Maps while bringing us on a date one time.
Wait.
Once.
Wait, what?
Me. Wow.
Google
Me
Maps.
for, I mean, honestly, not me, I guess, because I use it all the time.
Yeah.
Is
Angie
OP supposed
uses it
to
all the time.
know psychically where it is?
And again, OP's not even from this
OP's
area.
not even from this area. And she's like, you
Yeah.
use Google Maps. He's like, I did not.
And
I don't know where to go.
and Google, that's crazy that she thinks this because she's
Or maybe she's just like, you should have been using Apple Maps.
that's what
Yeah.
she thinks.
Yeah.
But she should use Google Maps because whenever you travel, Keon, what do you use?
I use Apple
I use
Maps.
Maps.
Use
I use
Google
I use
Maps.
Google Maps
What?
or Apple Maps.
No,
I
no,
use
you use
Apple
Google
Maps.
Maps.
Exclusively, I use Apple Maps.
Google Maps are more
Google
direct.
Maps sucks.
Yeah.
No. Whenever you go,
The
whenever you go
interface
abroad,
is
whenever I was in
ugly.
Bali, you just use Google Maps. I try to use Apple. It put me in wrong spots because they don't update it. They update it a lot in the United States, not while traveling. I asked if she could stop scrolling on Instagram while we were out for dinner. I'm not forceful enough, whatever that means. I don't make as much money as some of the guys she works with. I make over 6 figures, lol.
Dang.
My arms are too skinny to, apparently, her exes were way bigger. I used to be a semi-pro sprinter, and I'm by no means in bad shape. I'm also 6'4". Anyways, this argument was my first time ever actually losing my cool with her. I shouted regrettably and called her crazy. Almost broke up, but I remembered I wanted to keep my job. So again, I worked through it. Fast forward a month or two, she's doing therapy and genuinely making an effort. We're having spicy sleep again. We talk about our problems, but only on Sundays. The rest of the week, we just do nice things when we're not working, and it's fun. Her old boss is blocked, and there doesn't seem to be any issues other than her trying to beat her reliance to those kratom shots. I can see that she's really trying to not let me go. She jumps out of bed every morning to make me breakfast, cooks me dinner every night, makes an effort to do things with me, etc. She got a little more controlling, but I don't mind using the excuse of, I'm your wife now, so that's okay. This is all well and good until my mother calls me and tells me my granddad is sick back home and may have a couple of
Ooh.
weeks left. I was very close with my granddad. We spoke on the phone a lot while I was away, and I grew up with him as if he was a second father. He was also in perfect shape. The last time I saw him, he was a pro soccer player and never smoked or drank his whole life. Just got him at 88, and he went downhill within a couple of weeks. Dang.
Yeah, really hard.
Also, not bad timing with the grandpa. Grandpa did great, but this is just bad timing for OP.
I know. I'm
'Cause
like,
What's going to happen?
someone's gonna move in. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that would make kind of visa situation a little bit hard if you leave the country. I don't know.
Yeah,
what
right
that,
now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know how that would work.
Will she be faithful for
will
2
she
weeks?
Be faithful? Can she be faithful for 2 weeks?
she can
Seems
do it,
like
right?
seems pretty hard.
I don't have a travel permit. If I leave the U.S., I lose this green card application. I talked to my lawyer, yes, but for the first time, I consider giving up everything because it would meant a lot to me to see him before he passed away. I thought, well, at least I could reapply for the green card, but my wife made it very clear that if I went home, she would divorce me. I was lost, confused, sad, and emotional. In the few days where I was hesitant on my decision, my grandpa passed away. I was completely heartbroken. While my wife was there for me, I still resented her for what she said about if I go home. However, I kept quiet about this one. I really don't have the energy to argue anymore. Anyways, fast forward to the last month or two, she's doing well in work. It's also commission-based real estate job. And her company is having an event in Nashville for people aged 20 to 30 all over the world who are working at that company. She tells me that as she and a few of her friends from the office are invited, the company is paying for the hotel. She says I could come, go. Other people are bringing their partners. I also have a couple of close friends in Nashville who have always wanted to visit. I think, yeah, great, why not?
Okay, Opie's coming.
Keep an eye on her. Angie and I were watching The Middle the other day, and there was this rule where one of the kids got in trouble, and the kid didn't have like an Xbox or a phone or anything they could take away, so they did the 5 feet rule.
Yeah.
So the kid had to be within 5 feet of
Rick?
a parent at all times. Axel.
Okay.
He had to be within 5 feet of the parent at all times.
Oh.
So the dad had a ruler on him. He's like, whoop, whoop, whoop. Let's see. That's 5 feet 3 inches. Get it closer. I would do the 5-yard rule with her.
Yeah, I'd be like, whoa, where you going?
Stay within 5
Where you go?
feet.
Where you going?
Yeah. Anyway, a couple of weeks go by and I hear nothing about us booking flights. I overhear her in different rooms on the phone to her friends talking about going to Nashville, etc. Eventually, I say, hey, we should book flights before it gets super expensive. And lo and behold, she gets weirdly mad and says she doesn't want me to come because it doesn't financially make sense for me to spend $400 on a flight when we rent to pay. It also makes no sense considering how much I make / how much I saved. We have a small argument about it, but I let it go. We don't talk about the trip again until yesterday when she's packing her bags. I was lying on the bed finishing something for work on my laptop. As she packed, she asked why I was being weird. I said I'm trying to concentrate, which I was, and then she gets disproportionately mad and says, do you think I'm gonna do something with someone else in Nashville?
Doy.
She starts saying she can't believe I think that lowly of her, it's disgusting, etc. Meanwhile, I've been silently sitting there. I did not prompt this, but this looks like a red flag to me. I tell her, don't be silly. Of course, I don't think that, even though because of what she said, I'm not sure.
Yeah, she's like, OP's like sitting there and is like, oh.
Okay, wait. Here we go.
Yeah. You think I'm gonna cheat on you? You think I'm just gonna go and sleep with someone else when I'm in Nashville without you, and that's why I didn't want you to come?
I'm just finishing a work thing.
You think that I'm leaving for 2 weeks and making sure I turn off my cell phone because I'm gonna cheat on you with my boss in our hotel room? That's what you think?
No, I would never think that.
Of course, you think that I'm gonna send you home and make sure you don't get your green card so that I can marry my boss?
It's like an evil villain explaining their plan right before they do it.
That's what you think? That's what you think?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Anyways, I drop
that's
her
what I
off
think.
at the airport this morning. She goes to Nashville. All is well. She texts me a few times during the day. She's usually very responsive to me on her phone. She's constantly on it to the point where it can be annoying. She gets mad at me when I don't respond to her fast enough sometimes. So she calls me to tell me that she's going on Broadway, Party Street in Nashville. Great place to go. Had a blast there.
Ooh,
I want you
also,
to take
sorry,
me.
Sophie.
Huh?
I want you to take me.
Dude, let's
Because you
go.
know you know your way around.
Kind of, not like super much, but it's pretty fun.
Let's do it. I've never been.
With some people from her company's New York office that she just met, I say, have fun. Usually she's always texting me and updating me to let me know she's safe. But tonight, no. By the way, tonight, after this story's done, you can go to your favorite podcast platform, which those platforms could be,
Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio.
and you type these special 11 letters in a row.
OKSTORYTIME.
Spells OK Story Time, and there will be waiting for you. How many stories?
A lot.
A lot. I'm just going to finish it out.
Let's do it.
We already know what's going to happen.
We already know where
I
this
just
train
want
is
OP to get
going.
his green card.
Right off
Yeah.
the cliff. I know. If Opie doesn't get his green card by the end of the story, I'm going to be like,
It's a
what
horror.
was
This
it?
is
What was
a
it?
horror movie. Yeah.
What was the point of this?
Yeah.
I can see her location in nightclubs. I text her to give me a call when she's walking home, so I know she's safe. I don't get a text. I see her walk back to the hotel. I've texted and tried calling multiple times, getting sent to voicemail. It's been about 2 to 3 hours since she got back to the hotel. Still no word from her. We all know what she's doing. So yeah, I'm here typing this in the early hours of the morning, lacking sleep. So forgive me if this post seems a bit of a mess. It absolutely does not. I've just reached a breaking point. How do I deal with this? Is this relationship salvageable?
No,
Dion, could
of
you
course
check real quick if there's an update or
Like-
something?
Obviously, this relationship isn't salvageable. It hasn't been salvageable since you found out that she cheated on you.
Yeah.
But you know what is salvageable? Your green card.
Yeah, dude.
How far away from it are you?
You were so.
You've got to be close.
You gotta be close.
You gotta be close.
I feel like he's a year and a half out.
He's gotta be.
A year and a half. Could you do that for a year and a half? We haven't even been in this house for a year and a half.
It's a lot.
A
That's
year and a
lot.
half.
It's a lot.
We haven't even live streamed for a year and a half.
That's a long time.
Nothing. This is
But a
the
year and a half
most
would be
recent update.
long.
The most recent update, or the Nashville update, is from like almost like a little bit less than a month ago.
Oh wow.
So,
he's
nothing since then.
Yeah. Sam Chan says if he's only half a year in, I just quit. Yeah. It's like don't do another year and a half. You know.
But that's he should have just quit once he sees grandpa.
I know. You should have done that. Should have done that.
Dang. Oh. Gosh.
He's got to just grit his teeth and just bear down. Like this is like you're that
Sadly.
you've made it this far. If it was like the beginning, sure. But if you made it this far,
Yeah.
get your green card. Whatever it takes.
My brother-in-law's girlfriend disregarded my allergies, so I banned her from my home.
I'm disregarding you from my presence, lady.
Got him. Now I have a pretty severe dairy allergy. I break out in hives, struggle to breathe, and have to carry 2 EpiPens with me everywhere. Dang. If I get any dairy in my system, I will end up in the emergency room.
Wow.
That's intense.
I've never heard of a dairy allergy so extreme.
Me either. My in-laws know this and have been extremely accommodating since my fiance and I started dating 5 years ago. When we moved in together 2 years ago, we set strict rules for our home because of my allergy. The big one is that no one is allowed to bring anything that contains dairy into our house ever, no matter what. By the way, this comes from Investigator Hour 2911, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. But on to the current story. My brother-in-law started dating his girlfriend a year and a half ago. They came to visit us together for the first time a year ago. My fiance made sure my brother-in-law explained my allergy to his girlfriend and our no dairy rule. 2 days into their stay, she bought dairy products and cooked lunch for herself when we weren't home. I ended up in the ER because of cross-contamination. She apologized and explained she hadn't understood how serious the allergy was. We managed to put the situation behind us since both my fiance and I currently have and want to keep a good relationship with my brother-in-law. The two of them came for a second visit 9 months ago. We had a video call with brother-in-law and his girlfriend before the trip to make sure that they understood the severity of my allergy and how serious we are about the no dairy rule. During their second trip, I was taking out the trash and I found candy bar wrappers and an empty milkshake container in the guest room trash, the room she was staying in. Even after she saw how serious my allergy is and how I ended up in the ER, she brought dairy into our house. I confronted her when they got back. She and brother-in-law had a huge fight. Brother-in-law went through her stuff and threw out everything she had with dairy. Oh, she had even more stuff?
Wow.
We punted out his girlfriend. Brother-in-law stayed for the rest of the planned trip. Brother-in-law and his girlfriend worked out the relationship after the trip, and they're still together. Since the second trip, brother-in-law has come alone since I don't trust his girlfriend in our house. Well, brother-in-law is planning a new trip to visit us, and his girlfriend wants to come too. At first, we just said, no, we don't trust her. But since we know this is important to brother-in-law, we came up with what we believe is a good compromise, which is as follows. She can come and stay at our place, but we will look through her bags every time she comes back to our place. And if she didn't accept that, she can stay at a hotel or stay at home. Now I'm being called an a-hole for treating her like a criminal and that checking her bag is an invasion of privacy. So am I the a-hole for demanding to go through her bag if she's staying at my house? And there is an update. I think that the situation is like J. Cole. We shouldn't have even put this out in the first place. We shouldn't have even laid down the offer of, oh, hey, just come over and we'll check your bag. Cause it like, then she's like offended and it's like putting extra work on you. And it's like all this stuff. Just don't do it in the first place.
Yeah, I would just ban her. I'd be like, you already tried to send me to the hospital. You sent me once, tried to do it again.
Yeah.
This isn't like a 3 strikes you're out thing. I'm going to do 2 strikes.
Yep.
I'm going to do, when I tell you straight up to your face that I have an extreme allergy to dairy and you continue to bring it into my house after telling you once, you can't come back. Sorry. Once you understand how extreme it is and you still disregard it, get banned. You're banned from my house. Get out.
I didn't plan on writing this update, okay, especially not so soon, but a lot happened in just one day. But first, I want to clear up some misconceptions about the second visit to our home. I did not get sick from brother-in-law's girlfriend having candy bars and a milkshake cup in the trash or some candy bars in her bag. That wasn't the problem. The issue was that while knowing our no dairy house rule, having not only seen but also been responsible for me going into anaphylaxis, I hope I said that right, and having gotten an in-depth explanation of my allergy and why it's so important for us to keep the home dairy-free, she still brought my known allergen into my house, my safe space. Now, this is why we fought with her and punted her out of the house. So on to the update. After the first 500 or so comments telling me I'm an idiot for considering letting this woman who is a danger to my health back inside my house, I realized I was listening way too much to the part of me who just wanted to keep the peace and was downplaying the seriousness of the past incidents in my mind.
Which I think is also fair because, like, you're mostly concerned. You don't really care how she feels. You're worried about maintaining your relationship with your brother-in-law.
Yes.
And it seems like your brother-in-law also understood right away that that was super messed up and not okay.
I kept thinking the first time she might not have known how serious my allergy was and it was just an accident. Since I didn't get sick the second time she brought dairy into my home, I was exaggerating how bad it was. I know it sounds insane, but after dealing with people who don't take allergies seriously for years, I've gotten used to apologizing and even downplaying my allergy for others. I sat down with my fiance and discussed the whole situation. He explained how he doesn't want brother-in-law's girlfriend back in our home. But since I was willing to give her another chance and it was my health affected by her previous actions, he felt that I should be the one to make the decision. W partner. He ended up texting brother-in-law telling him our original no answer stance that he is welcome to stay with us, but she is not allowed in our house, especially since she hasn't even apologized for breaking our rule again after it sent me to the ER the first time they visited. I'm his family, and my health and well-being are more important to him than brother-in-law just visiting. I wasn't here for this part, but this is what my fiance told me happened. After he sent that message, brother-in-law called him and they talked. Turns out brother-in-law's girlfriend had told him that she had reached out after their second trip, that we talked, and I forgave her, but wasn't ready to have her back in my house just yet. She asked him to come with every time he has visited us. Brother-in-law always told her no, and that she would only be allowed to come when I told him I was ready to have her back in my house. He only asked if she could come since it had been 9 months, and as far as he knew, I had forgiven her. According to my fiance, brother-in-law was extremely apologetic. I haven't had time to talk with him directly yet, but we planned a video chat to get everything worked out tomorrow. We need to communicate, see what's going on. The reason my brother-in-law didn't ask me directly about the situation and believed his girlfriend is because he is aware how traumatic an allergic reaction is to me, and that I hate to talk about it after since I can't stand reliving the situation. If anyone is interested, I can post a second update after I talk to brother-in-law tomorrow, and hopefully we have a final conclusion to this whole thing. And wouldn't you freaking know it? We have another update. We have the answer.
You sent me to the hospital, and then you prove that you don't really care. So you're not coming back, because I won't go to the hospital twice for you.
Big facts. Big facts. Yeah, Don't bring her back. Just
Yeah,
let her. And
you don't-
hopefully brother-in-law sees. We could have a breakup.
I hope so. Brother-in-law should be breaking up with this girl. She sounds like she sucks.
There's only one way to find out. So I've talked to my brother-in-law. We had a long and emotional conversation. I won't post it all here since some stuff we discussed is personal, but I wanted to update you guys. To start, brother-in-law kept apologizing and saying he should have checked with us, not just believed his girlfriend, or now ex-girlfriend.
Yeah! Yes!
Because she's now his wife.
No.
Just kidding.
No. Oh my God.
Just-
Oh my God. The
I
jolt.
got you.
The jolt that went through my heart when you said that.
He went on to explain how the reason he wanted to talk with me today instead of yesterday after the call with my fiance was because he felt like he already failed us for believing his girlfriend. We do not agree with this at all and do not blame him. So he wanted to show us how truly remorseful of everything that has happened, not just say the words, but show it through actions. After the call with my fiance, he confronted his ex. Ex tried to convince him that I was lying and trying to ruin their relationship. That didn't work, so she tried to manipulate him with tears. Brother-in-law explained it as now he has fully seen all of her crazy behavior. He immediately saw how manipulative she is. A lot more happened, but I won't go into detail since it isn't my story, but it's brother-in-law's.
That's so thoughtful. Yes.
Yes.
I wish you would tell us the story though.
The end result is he broke up with her.
Let's go.
He also told us more that we didn't know, including how they actually broke up after the second time they had visited us. So this wasn't even the first time they'd broken up.
Yes.
He didn't want to be with someone who clearly didn't care about people in his life by putting someone in danger. He explained that they were broken up for about 2 months and only got back together after she sent him a message saying she had reached out to me and we had worked things out because she felt awful, but didn't expect anything from him. Now it is clear that it was just manipulation to get back together with him. More we didn't know is also that brother-in-law hasn't been happy where he currently lives for the last year or so. And one of the reasons he often comes to visit us is because he has been considering moving to our area. So I have a feeling that she has been doing all this crazy stuff in hopes that we would blame brother-in-law, and if we were mad or low contact with him, he wouldn't want to move. Because why is she bringing the milkshake and everything else like that? I think that's it.
Oh my God.
She is literally willing to put OP in the hospital
Yeah.
to manipulate her partner into staying in the same city. That's terrifying. Brother-in-law also sent out a message to their extended family explaining the whole situation in case she reaches out to the family. And this way, I won't have to relive the trauma surrounding an allergic reaction to explain what is going on. I also told brother-in-law and my fiance about what it is like for me to have a serious allergic reaction for the first time, what it feels like, and the absolute horror I go through. That was definitely the hardest part of the conversation for me. By the way, the hardest part of getting full episodes with stories just like this, Dakota and Keon, my brothers in Christ, is going to Apple, Spotify, or the iHeart podcast apps and taking your fingers and typing "Okay, story time." I know it's challenging, but on the other end of that is 2,000 episodes of our incredible show that you can listen to for eternity. 53 days. I'm sorry, it's eternity. It's actually eternity.
If you go about it the right way, you'll never run out. Everything, all this is great. Brother-in-law's a sweetie pie. Brother-in-law was already like, well, I don't want them to be mad at, me for not listening to them or like believing my ex-girlfriend or whatever. And it's like, look, we already know you're number one. She's number two. She's old news. You're what's hot. You're what's now. We want you to move in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
I like it.
On to the last part of the story. Neither my fiance or I blame brother-in-law. The way I see it, he's a good guy who sees the best in people, and he was being manipulated by his ex. He is still more than welcome to stay with us, and with everything he told us about how he has been feeling lately, we are excited to have him stay with us and hopefully be able to help him out with everything that's going on. A lot more is said and talked about, but I think these are the most important parts for the update. If I've forgotten anything, I'll add an edit here. Also, thank you to everyone who commented and help me with my situation. Hopefully this is the last part, and it actually is, and we can go back to focusing on our wedding. Love it. You know what? All's well that ends well. We got crazy X out of here.
We did.
We've got brother-in-law in the fold. He stood up. He took a stand. He's W good boy, and I'm happy.
Yes, and we are back to a staunchly anti-dairy household.
Get it out.
As dairy-free, or so help me. Like, or help me. There's dairy in the house. I can't breathe. My girlfriend still lives with her ex. I feel like the other man.
Well, maybe you are. I don't know.
Yeah, it sounds like you're living that life, brother. So I started dating this new girl 2 months ago. We met on Plenty of Fish, and she just wanted to casually date at first and wasn't looking for a relationship. I agreed. And by the way, this comes from user Hands Off My Throwaway. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, however, since then, we've gotten a lot closer. We're really into each other, and we even admitted to each other that we basically are dating and exclusive to one another. She very clearly agreed with me when I suggested this. She always wants to come over to my place. All of our together time happens at my place, like watching the Netflix, eating the dinners, sleeping over, etc. I was only at her place a few times, and never for long, usually only when picking her up or dropping her off, never a long visit, about 15 minutes max, which was okay with me. She mentioned a roommate, and I assumed it was another woman, and okay, she didn't want to bring a dude back there regularly. She talked about this ex a lot named John. That was a major red flag, of course. He was a Division I college athlete and has a great job, great body, and great car, which, of course, no new boyfriend wants to hear about. The old boyfriend.
Did you say that it was a red flag that his name was John?
He's not the red flag, OP.
Brother. This is the guy you worry about. Okay? To be clear. But she also said he was a major a-hole and didn't care about her and treated her like crap, and he can go F himself. Okay. I told her that I kind of thought she was still in love with him since she talked about him so much, but she got pissed and said she wasn't. She said he broke her heart. She still kind of talks about him, but called him a friend and didn't name him or call him an ex, but I'm not stupid and kind of figured it out that it was him because of context clues. She mentioned her roommate was giving her a ride home from work. She doesn't like to drive in heavy traffic or whatever and works in the city, so sometimes her roommate will give her a ride there and home. She said they were grabbing dinner on their way home. It was a bar restaurant in the city I really like with good food and cool atmosphere. This conversation followed, and it's paraphrased from memory. I said, hey, why don't I drive down there? You know, traffic won't be that bad going into the city. We can have dinner and drinks together down there. You know, I love that place. She says, I don't know. He wouldn't like that. I said, who's he exactly? And she said, oh, my roommate. Is your roommate a guy? Yeah, actually, John lives with me still. What the F?
Huh?
This is not cool. No, I mean, it's not that big of a deal if he's just a friend.
Just a friend who can say whether you go somewhere or not.
Just a friend who you have had coitus with.
Why, yes. Why, yes, indeed.
He's just my friend who I've done coitus with.
Because, okay, the only example I can think of like living with your ex is from New Girl. But in that situation, it was like, they were like kind of fine.
Yeah, look, okay, to be clear,
was a different situation.
I'm just making a joke. It really doesn't matter who anyone has done anything with.
Yeah.
The only thing is that this girl kept talking about, John sucks, he broke my heart, and I don't like him, and he treats me like crap, and blah, 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 blah. Why are you going to get dinner and drinks with him?
Why is she saying like, no, I don't think we should do that because my ex-boyfriend, who is also my roommate, wouldn't like that.
Right, because she's still in love with this guy and she wants to date him. So if I'm OP at this point, it's 2 months. This isn't that serious, dude. You leave.
Honestly,
there's nothing here worth your time.
Good time to go. Good timing. Not too invested, but you know enough to know you don't want to be there.
Run. I ignored her text for the rest of the night. She was mostly like, hey, please don't be mad. I can explain. She tried to call once, but I sent her to voicemail. We finally talked the next day, and I got the whole story. They lived together in an apartment. He pays for it. When they broke up, she wanted to stay there or couldn't afford to live alone, So they agreed to be roommates. And she pays, from what I can tell, a small share of the monthly rent. He still drives her to work sometimes, and they go out to dinners and bars occasionally, but just as friends. I asked if there were friends who occasionally kissed or fooled around, and she said no. They had separate bedrooms, and there weren't any benefits. And differences in the bedroom were what started the chain of events that led them to breaking up. I'm not an idiot, and I'm still smelling major BS, so I ask why I can't meet him. She says they agreed not to bring new girlfriends or boyfriends around the apartment or around each other. Gee whiz, I wonder why that is. Maybe because they still have feelings for each other.
Pretty safe to say. There's so many. Yeah. Just
That's me running away from this as fast as I can if I'm
get
OP.
out of there. Get out of
You
there.
don't need her to explain why she lied to you and deceived you. You know why she would do that. So
Yeah.
just go ahead and leave.
Yeah.
I told her that this agreement was really kind of effed up because if they were both over each other and were just friends, they wouldn't feel weird about bringing new partners around their apartment. I said she should have explained this to me earlier because now I felt like I was lied to. And I felt like the other guy. She begged me to stay with her and said it wasn't like that. Despite their history, they were done and through. And she wasn't romantically attracted to him. I was perfect for her, and she thought I was amazing, and he was a donkey, and etc., etc. So I keep seeing her. This was a few weeks ago, and we kept on. Why? Am I a dumb doormat? Here's the thing. She is always available. I can pretty much call or text her whenever I want and get a response. It isn't like sometimes she's hiding me from him. If they were dating and I was the other man, it isn't like she's sneaking around. She's free to do stuff mostly whenever we want, and she sleeps over at my place quite regularly. So it's not like she has to rush home to be with him. Plus, he was kind of an a-hole, and she said that the spicy sleep with him was all about him, and he was pretty inconsiderate, and he also never wanted kids ever, and this is what she told me. She said he would, okay, we're just gonna skip that point. Yeah, guy really doesn't want kids.
Not a guy we want to be around. Not a guy we want to be around. For how he's going about that.
And your reason for continuing to live with this guy is because you couldn't afford to live on your own? Hey, did you know that other people can be your roommate besides your ex-boyfriend?
It's possible. It's possible.
Hello?
He is paying for the whole thing, though, apparently. I mean, that makes it way more complicated. Or even more crazy and obvious that this isn't a platonic situation.
Jeez Louise.
You know, I don't like it.
She kind of wants kids one day, and so do I. So I assumed they were romantically incompatible and she had more of a future with me. What led me to make this post is that her cousin got married yesterday. What the hell are we talking about?
What's going on anymore?
Okay, I understand taking a partner to something like that is a big deal, meeting the whole family. Maybe it's too soon for us, but she took him and didn't tell me until the last minute. She said she didn't want to pressure me by meeting her whole family so soon, and they already know. I was pissed and I told her so. She said she was already expecting to go and she didn't want to say anything. I told her this wasn't cool and she was seriously testing the boundaries of what I was okay with. She said I was being needy and needed to back off. I gave it 60 minutes, then apologized and asked if she wanted to come over to my place after the wedding to watch Netflix and spend the night. I know it would be like midnight or 1 a.m. or whatever, but it was a little bit of a loyalty test, if you will. She said she'd text me as they were leaving. So, last night rolls around. I stay up until 1:30 in the morning without hearing from her. Then I got a few barely coherent texts from her. She was super wasted. Said she couldn't drive over to my place and just wanted to go to sleep. I told her I could pick her up and we could hang out and watch TV and she could tell me about the wedding. No reply. I went to sleep pissed. I hope you were pissed at yourself, brother. I don't know. Am I being out of line here? Okay, she lived with this guy and then they broke up and economically she can't live alone, so she stayed with him as a roommate and paid rent. That I can understand. What?
Now
You understand that?
That I can understand.
Are you crazy?
But what part are you not understanding of me?
He's like, I understand. She only had one person on earth she could be a roommate with, and it was her ex-boyfriend.
Of course.
She had signed a contract with the devil in blood. And, yeah.
Yeah.
That's that.
For sure.
God. He drives her to work. They go to dinner and get drinks sometimes. That kind of bends what I'll tolerate, but it's still acceptable, I guess, as roommate behavior. Then she takes him to a family wedding. This is effed up, right? I should just end this, right? Brother, it's been effed up the whole time.
Yeah, you're right. You are right. Good job.
You're on the right track. I live alone, and I guess I'm considering basically asking her to put up and shut up and move in with me or it's over. Brother.
Wrong.
Brother. Brother, ugh.
Survey says
Moving in after 2 months, gotta be on the top 5 list of worst things you could ever do.
yeah, even when you're like in a healthy relationship and when you're not the side piece. Even
Yes.
then.
At all times.
At all times.
It's gotta be terrible.
And then so on top of the situation, I don't like that. I don't like that.
But that's kind of a crappy ultimatum to make. Yeah, not to mention that's an ultimatum.
Yeah, we don't like those.
And we haven't been dating that long, although she does spend a lot of nights and weekends here.
No,
I just don't feel right asking her to move in with me yet or being like, you must find a new roommate or we're done. Because that does sound totally insecure and clingy. Yeah, you know what would be secure? Freaking leaving the relationship, you dummy.
Yes, here's what we're looking at. If this is what you're comfortable with, you're either comfortable with her leaving her roommate or we're done. Those are our options, okay? If we're looking at leaving her roommate, you know you can't ask her to do that, but that is still important to you. You can't ask her to do that. Not an option. Guess what's left? Being done. Get out of there. Go.
Okay, we got an update. Let's just get into it, okay?
Let's do it.
I worked up the nerve and messaged John on Facebook asking if he was dating my girlfriend.
I love that John and girlfriend are in quotes in that too. Like
Opie's like, so what's the answer? It's right in your face. Nah, that's not the answer. I'm gonna go around that one. There's another answer to that.
talk to this man.
But
I just love that John
are you
was in
dating my
quotes.
girlfriend? I just have a question. Are you dating my girlfriend? Mr. D1 athlete with the cool car? That's the other layer of this, is he's the D1 athlete with the good job and the good body and the good car.
Forgot about that.
And he's
Is
like,
that for real?
do you have maybe a relationship with my girlfriend?
If so, I would please ask you to end. Thanks very much.
I'll have
It's
you
my
know,
turn now.
I'll have you know, you're on your way out, mister. You are being very disrespectful. It took him until this morning to reply. This was the whole reply. Is, yeah, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
OP says, I was kind of upset or whatever. Who is this? They built this guy in a laboratory, dude. And I want to meet you. Oh, man.
Upset or whatever.
So I called her this morning. I asked her if she and John were dating. And she said no, they were broken up. And she said maybe she shouldn't have told me that they had a history. I told her that I messaged him on Facebook and asked. And he said they were still together. And she was mad for a second, then got flustered and started like pleading with me.
Oh no, you're just gonna teach her how to cheat better next time.
So she reiterated that she dumped him and he wasn't over her. She said he was pretty clear that he wanted to win her back and often hit on her or whatever when they were alone. But she said he was just a friend and she cared about him as a friend, but she wasn't attracted to him romantically. And she doesn't want to torment him by bringing other guys around or whatever. I said I felt like I was a secret in her life and asked about the wedding. She said her sisters and friends know they're broken up, but her parents really like him and don't know yet. I said that was BS and unfair because now if she tells them about me, suddenly they had no time to get over him and suddenly I become the a-hole guy who pried her away from him. She agreed the whole thing was unfair to me, but she really liked me and said I was perfect and made her feel special and she wanted to be with me all the time and not him. Then she said she sort of loved me. I told her not to say that if she didn't mean it. I told her I had to think about this because I couldn't tell if she was telling the truth or if I was the other guy. And I'll tell you the truth right now.
Oh,
You can go listen to full episodes with stories just like this on Spotify, on iHeartRadio, on Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. All you got to do is search OK Storytime. And then you've got over 2,000 episodes to listen to.
oh yeah.
So we have a little bit more story left. We all know where we're at.
Yep.
You're 2 months into this. You just leave and you that's it.
Yeah. You can find another fish in the sea.
She started getting upset, pleading with me to believe her, and I told her we might have to say goodbye, and I needed time to process all this. I don't know what to do. I want to believe her, you sweet summer child.
I want
But-
to believe her.
But at the same time, I'm not sure she's over him entirely or whatever. He still likes her and actively tells her this and tries to sleep with her. She likes him as a friend. I don't know. How do I know she doesn't come home wasted one night and just give in and sleep with him? And that's the end of the story. My girlfriend's friend is showering her with expensive gifts. It makes us both uncomfortable.
Make it rain. Make it rain.
The main people are Liz, 28, female, my girlfriend, Jay, 28, male, my girlfriend's childhood friend, and me, 29, male. Thank God we stopped at 3. Liz and Jay grew up in the same neighborhood, just a few houses down from each other. Ooh, she's girl next door. They were best friends in elementary school and then drifted apart a bit in middle school. But during high school, Jay's parents went through a real nasty divorce. I'm not really clear on all the details, but I know that Jay's dad moved out and Jay and his mom were really struggling financially. By the way, this comes from user Throwaway Weird Gifts. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit and submit them there. So, Liz's parents are about as kind, generous, and warm as people you'll ever meet. And they took care of Jay. He would often have dinner with them, do family stuff with them, crash at Liz's place. And during this time, Liz and Jay became best friends again and stayed that way until college. Jay ended up getting a major scholarship to a really good school out west and left for school while Liz stayed close to home. Over the years, they followed each other on socials but had little other contact. I met Liz a little over 3 years ago as part of a social league for volleyball in our city. By luck of the draw, we were placed on the same team, met each other at the welcome event, and really hit it off. Is that the luck of the draw? Or is that fate, my guy?
It could be a bit of both, perhaps.
A nice sprinkling of both. She is kind, gracious, smart, witty, beautiful, fun, and is just the right amount of competitive. That's actually really important. She's the kind of girl that guys meet and fall in love with. And I guess I'm one of those guys, but somehow she also liked me. A year after meeting, we were moving in together and talking about the future. By no means is our relationship a fairy tale romance, but we've weathered our fair share of storms and have what I believe to be a healthy relationship with a good old horizontal mambo life. We've got strong communication and shared goals and values. We've talked marriage and kids, all of it. Here's where Jay comes back into the story.
Okay.
A few years back, Jay started a tech company with a friend. Their company grew rapidly and was bought out by a major player in the tech world. Jay moved back to our city this year. On Labor Day, we went to a party at a friend of Liz's from high school. Jay was also there. It was the first time that Liz had seen him in probably 4 or 5 years, so the two spent a lot of the party catching up. I'm not originally from the area, so many of Liz's friends have become my friends, so I was hanging out and let them catch up. On the way home from the party, Liz said that Jay had invited us over to his new house and that we needed to find a date. A few weeks later, we headed over to Jay's house. From the moment he opened the door to greet us, Jay was weird to me. I think he didn't realize that I was coming too. Maybe he thought Liz was coming by herself. Almost the whole day, Jay spoke only to Liz. When Liz would try to introduce me in the conversation or talk about me, Jay seemed to change the subject to reminisce about old stories. It was very strange and just kind of exhausting. Yeah, this certainly is a strange scenario now, given how he's acted. At first, I was like, oh, this isn't going to be that weird.
Right.
Liz's family, kept Jay from being unhoused when he was a kid.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking, oh, he's going to give her a bunch of gifts. And it's like, well, it's probably, he just feels now that he's in a position to repay the kindness that was shown to him that he wants to do it. But the fact that he's being like, yeah, your boyfriend, cool. Remember that time that we both stayed up until 5 a.m. reading like Harry Potter together? We were pretending to be the characters.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can understand, wanting to relive those things because those memories can be very sweet and very, fun to relive. But it is still, I mean, especially if she's there with someone else, it's good to include him in the conversation, too, instead of just being like, oh, yeah, you don't know about any of this, and we don't need to tell you.
Actively involving.
Yeah, exactly.
Eventually, I went inside to the kitchen to get a drink and chatted with Jay's chef. He has a private chef to make his food. The chef was cool and confirmed that he had been told it was Jay plus one guest for dinner. Liz and I tried to chalk that whole day up to a misunderstanding, that maybe he just wanted to continue catching up, but there have been plenty of awkward things since then. So, for example, when at Jay's, Liz saw a Le Creuset Dutch oven and said something about always wanting one but not being able to justify the cost. Well, you won't believe what showed up on our doorstep a few days later. The exact same Le Creuset. She one time mentioned that she really likes a very expensive classic lounge chair, but it's almost $4,000. It showed up at our place the next week. Maybe just be like, I've always wanted to own a piece of land, in like Aspen, Colorado. See what happens.
I feel like if OP is complaining, then he should be like, hey, don't you really want like the new, PS5 and like the new Switch that's coming out or something? You know what I mean? And she's like, oh yeah, I really, really wanted this. And then boom, you just get free gifts for him too. Profit off of it, my guy.
Until a love letter shows up with one of them.
Right, yeah.
And then it has to stop. Once the love letter's there, it's over. She said something the next day when we saw Jay, but he gave us this weird smile and said multiple times that he didn't know what she was talking about. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about. You're so crazy. What?
Jay's building a new company that creates tech for the hospital industry. For this reason, he has connections with restaurants and breweries all over the city. In the fall, he invited Liz to a special dinner at a chef's table that is inside of the kitchen at one of the nicest restaurants in the city. Jay knows the chef, so they would get the royal treatment. When Liz asked if I could come as well, he told her that the table only seats 2.
Of course it does. Very convenient.
See, and that's when you go, oh, I guess I'm not going then, because I have a husband. Liz and I talked it out for a while, and in the end decided that she would go without me. She reported back that it felt like 2 friends having dinner together. I was talking about the whole thing with a coworker who told me she had also done the chef's table, and the table seats 4. At the beginning of December, Jay invited her to a special event at a local museum. One of the major museums in our city hosts a special Christmas party that you have to be invited to, and it is really exclusive. Think like a knockoff version of the Met Gala without the celebrities and holiday theme. Jay got 2 tickets and invited Liz. She's wanted to go for ages and never thought it was possible, so again, we talked it out and decided she would take him up on the offer. Look, at this point, this is okay.
Yep.
But you need to get clarity.
It has plausible deniability for sure.
Sure.
But, inviting you to a fancy restaurant where you're inside the kitchen or something, you're sitting at the stove, whatever it is. And
they grew up together, so it's okay. It's the lying that would immediately get me. On its face, it's like, well, I've known this person forever, childhood friend. We grew up together. We've been through a lot.
Yep.
But why is he saying that the table only seats 2 and it seats 4? Why is he taking you to the Met Gala of our city?
Yeah.
I bet you he could have got 3 tickets.
For sure. And put an effort to talk to OP too.
Right.
I think we know what the answer to these questions is.
As OP's partner, it's like you need to go to Jay and be like, hey, so we're just friends. That's all we're ever going to be because I'm married to my husband and I love him.
Yep.
I love you too. You're my best friend.
Different way though.
Right. Again, at the event, she says he acted like a friend, but in hindsight, it feels weird that he keeps inviting her to stuff like this. As I'm writing this out, I already feel like people are getting ready to tell me she's cheating on me or that I'm a pushover for letting Liz go to one-on-one things with Jay, which I disagree with. But 1, we don't have that kind of relationship where I wouldn't let her do something she wanted. And 2, she is super honest with me. She's also a terrible liar. She has the easiest tells in the world. She's too moral and good-natured to keep a bad secret. That's why I believe her when she's assured me time and time again that Jay is very much in the friend zone. She is not interested. She believes that he is lonely and wants to return to being best friends. My worry is that Liz naturally sees the best in people. For example, if someone cuts her off in traffic, her natural response is, oh, they must be in some kind of emergency situation. She genuinely trusts people. She cares for people and wants the best for them. I, on the other hand, am a natural skeptic. I tend to think that people are just out for themselves. I find her optimism really beautiful, but struggle to see the world in the same way. So the long and short of it is that we both feel uncomfortable with the gifts and fancy dinners that he keeps getting her. But when she brought it up to him, he says he's paying her back for taking him in during high school. So the white elephant gift exchange, it's always weird stuff or funny items. Jay showed up with a second gift that he was cagey about all night. Someone thought it was part of the gift exchange, and he kind of freaked out a little bit. Near the end of the night, he pulled Liz aside and gave her this second gift. Inside was a designer handbag and a super expensive pair of designer heels. She felt very uncomfortable accepting them and in the awkwardness of the situation just said thanks and then we left soon after. Now, 2 days later, Liz has decided she wants to return the gifts to Jay and tell him they're too much. I think she said that they were almost $2,000 combined. I think we need to tell Jay to back off as well, but Liz is saying that I'm being overly harsh. What I'm asking is this. Am I being too harsh in telling a guy to back off who's trying to repay former kindness? If I'm not out of line telling him to back off, how can we ask him to stop with the gifts without destroying the friendship? And there is an update. And boy, oh boy, do I have thoughts. But Angie, let's hear what you have to say.
One of the comments, actually, if you scroll up a little bit, Dakota hates dog Ezekiel. He's doing her past kindness as a sign of affection. So that, I think, is one way that it could be going.
It was her parents that, overall, let him in.
True. And how old was he when that happened again?
They were in high school. It was pretty early on, too, I think. I think it was like freshmen, or they were young teenagers.
I could see him catching feelings back there for sure. I don't know. I think you can just have a real conversation with them and be like, I don't know. I feel like you can't just say no, you have to stop the gifts. Maybe you can phrase it in a way where it's like, hey, I understand that you want to repay me. I appreciate that so much. You don't have to stop doing that, but maybe let's find a different way to do that.
Yeah, give me a CD.
Yeah, or maybe invite my husband to things.
Yes, hi, my husband.
Maybe it's time, or, you guys, I don't know, he cooks food or something, something different than just material things, maybe.
Liz is going to have to, because, you can't be back off. That's the wrong move. But also Liz has to be hey, so are you pretending my husband doesn't exist? Because, instead of spending $2,000 on a handbag and a pair of shoes, you could have spent $2,000 on I don't know, a trip for both of us, me and my husband, or
yeah.
If you're really just trying to repay me, me and my husband are a package deal. So
yeah, to just be what would really mean something, because it is hard to, I feel I always go to no, you can't give me anything, you don't, but then it's awkward because it's when people are offering things, trying to do a nice thing, it's it's rejection to them that you're just saying no, I don't want your kindness and whatever, and say can you actually give me this, rather than him just kind of guessing with all these material things that he
right,
you heard you mention, or designer things that people kind of can say as a default that people would even though it's not always someone's cup of tea.
Yeah, and if he's making a bunch of money, $2,000 for that might be just a drop in the bucket for him.
True.
Let's get back into this story.
Let's do it.
Update. I've had a bunch of DMs asking for an update. Honestly, the whole thing got really weird and confusing. I was trying to wait until things became more clear and we had answers to what had happened, but I'm not sure that will ever happen. Oh, the plot thickens. After posting, Liz told me that she had decided to give back Jay's expensive Christmas gifts. She waited until he posted on Instagram about being out at an event at a local bar for the night, then drove over to his house with a friend, and they left the gifts by the front door with a note that said, and this is paraphrased, "Jay, thank you so much for thinking of me this Christmas. While all the gifts you've been giving me are generous, I feel bad taking them. It was my parents who took you in back when we were in school. I was just excited to live with my friend. They're the ones who took care of you. If you feel the need to give back, my parents have always supported local charity. I'm sure they would be happy to know you gave the amount of these gifts in their honor."
Beautiful.
Perfect. She hoped this would end things and he'd get the picture. I was doubtful. Around 2 a.m. that night, presumably when he had got home and saw the returned gifts, he started bombarding her with text messages. They were all some combination of, he was such a good friend and she was lucky to have him. He was going to give the gifts back because it was false modesty that she was showing in not accepting them. She should always expect gifts from him and that he would always protect her and be her hero. It was really weird and creepy. We were already asleep and the messages came in so quickly and repeatedly that it woke us up. We agreed to try to go back to sleep and deal with it all in the morning. Luckily, we were leaving early the next morning to see my family for the holidays. On the way there, we worked together to craft a final message to Jay. Liz told him in the text that it seemed like he wanted a deeper relationship than she did, that she was happy in her relationship with me, and that she was blocking him to give him time to sort out his feelings for her. 30 minutes after that, we got a notification from our doorbell. I'll give you one guess who it was.
He shows up at their house? Oh my gosh.
He came back a few hours later to bring the gifts back. Then he came back again the next morning and then again that evening. Friends started saying that Jay had reached out to ask where Liz was, saying he was afraid for her safety. Luckily, we didn't tell that many people about our trip, and those who knew also knew about Liz blocking Jay and all stonewalled him.
Good.
Still, saying it was a stressful situation is a major understatement. Honestly, the stress of it ruined our New Year's. While in my hometown, we visited my cousin, whose husband is a lawyer. We asked about protective orders, and he told us that unfortunately for our state, there have to be threats of harm or proof that he was stalking Liz. He says that Jay's actions up to that point were not extreme enough, but he encouraged us to save our video doorbell feed and to keep a record of every interaction in case things escalated. My parents let us stay in my hometown an extra few days before going home, but eventually we had to head back for a work event that Liz had to go to. We were pretty nervous the first few days at home, and I installed 2 extra cameras outside our home with a wider view range than the doorbell could offer. Luckily, we didn't hear anything from Jay. After not hearing anything from or about him for about 2 weeks, we couldn't tell if we had gotten lucky or if something else was going on. While our closest friends knew what was going on and had all blocked Jay when Liz did, we had some friends of friends that Liz knew who were still close to him. We had a close friend reach out to one of Jay's friends. This guy said that no one had heard or seen from Jay in about 3 weeks. He had missed 2 parties he said he would be at and hadn't posted on socials for a while. Jay was the kind of guy who would post on Insta 3 or 4 times a week. I should have let the whole thing go from there, but curiosity got the better of me. I reached out to a friend in the middle of February who works in the restaurant industry. I knew they had been in conversations with Jay's new company about becoming a client. This friend told me that they hadn't heard from Jay in over a month, but that there was a rumor going around that Jay's business partner, and I guess the entire new business, was tied to some sketchy stuff, and a lot of the restaurants he knew of had gotten cold feet. No one had heard from Jay in a while, and this friend had not seen him at a recent industry event. This caused one of our friends and me to go into detective mode. Back when Jay had first moved back to the area, a bunch of us were invited over to a party at his house, which was a huge mansion in a super wealthy area. Liz and I were having a hard time remembering, but we feel like he was telling people he had just bought it. Let me guess. This is my conspiracy.
Let's hear it.
Jay's business was funded by dirty money, and all of his little gifts and all of his, his mansion and all of his cool stuff, it's all bought on credit, so to speak, or it's a rental, right?
Okay.
Why are you giggling? What is...
I just think that's funny.
I thought you were like tying that to something else you might know.
No, I just think that's funny.
Yeah.
I think you're being funny. And I'm laughing. Dakota's like, why are you laughing? Is that allowed?
This is serious business.
Guys, I think that this is all some sort of scheme for a money laundering thing, and it's really serious.
Last week, the friend who I've been doing detective stuff with found that house on a website full of luxury homes for long-term rental. We checked on Zillow, and the house was last sold almost a decade ago, so we don't think that he bought it and rented it out. We looked up a news report for when his company sold, and we didn't see his name anywhere in the article. That being said, the only person it named was the CFO, so maybe he was an owner? We can't figure it out. So that's it. We don't have any answers for what happened to Jay. We can't figure out if he was just a sketchy guy whose new company had closed, or if he was some kind of scam artist.
Or maybe he got kidnapped.
Yeah, or maybe he's being held for ransom. And by the way, we have a king's ransom. Full episodes with stories just like this, and you can listen to them. All you got to do is just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search OK Storytime.
Do it.
The king's ransom is yours. We got a little bit more story left. I think, hey, happy trails, Jay. I hope they're not dangerous. Let's finish this story. Part of me thinks that he got a payday and is probably living in Costa Rica or something, but I wouldn't be surprised if he had been telling stories the entire time. Maybe he only owned a few shares in the company, so he had a bit of cash but conflated his role and his bank account. I don't think we will ever have answers. On the plus side, it seems like he's out of our lives, and while we're continuing to keep an eye out, we're hoping we don't ever have to see him again. And that is the end of that story.
That is the end. I found unhinged messages on my boyfriend's phone. I want to report it.
How unhinged.
Hi, Reddit. I've been in a relationship with my boyfriend, let's call him Fred, for 2.5 years. We're both physicians. He's 30 and I'm 28. I'll try to give you a full picture so I can get accurate perspectives from you all. By the way, this comes from B And if you want to submit your own story, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. When we started dating, we saw each other almost every day. Now I only see him maybe twice a week as he works 24-hour shifts at 2 hospitals, A and B, with only 1 day off in between, which he spends mostly sleeping. He used to spend those days with me, even if it was just to nap in my bed. But not anymore. A bit of context, Fred lost his job at Hospital A last summer due to financial issues. His childhood best friend, we'll call him Tom, helped him get into Hospital B in October. Then in December, Hospital A rehired him. So now he works at both. For my part, I worked at a healthcare center that shut down, and I haven't found another job since. I've been depressed most of my life, and I've had low self-esteem despite often being told I'm attractive. I suspect Fred also struggles with insecurity, but he hides it behind an overly confident facade. We're similar in some ways, but very different in others. Fred has always had trouble showing empathy, especially when I cry. To be fair, it often happened during fights. But the things we fought over were often petty. For example, one time during dinner with my family, he got furious because I leaned over to see who viewed a story that he had posted. He accused me of being jealous and made me cry, yet offered no comfort. Early in our relationship, we used to work together in the same building briefly. That's how we met. I found out by checking his phone, yes, I know, that before we got together, he was flirting with nearly every woman at our workplace except me. In chats with Tom, he described how he was shooting his shot with all the women. It was humiliating, especially since I had made the first move.
Ooh.
Dang, man.
Well, maybe he was so intimidated by you that he couldn't do it. He was saving the best for last.
That's exactly what happened. A month into our relationship, I also caught him flirting with another girl. Uh-oh. He has a very high libido and was honest about it from the start. I, on the other hand, had barely any libido before meeting him, but spicy sleep with him was great. Unfortunately, I've gained weight from antidepressants and ED treatment, and now I barely have any spicy sleep drive. I once attempted self-harm. Oh no. I'm also planning to leave the country to continue my studies. We had talked about going together, but he seems to have forgotten that plan after going back to Hospital A. About 6 days ago, I went through his phone again. 6 months earlier, I had seen a message where he commented on a coworker's skirt with Tom, and another where Tom sent a picture of a patient's chart, which is Leah, a coworker from Hospital A. And Fred replied, "Do a gynecological exam on her, please," which was gross, but not conclusive since she was actually there for a OBGYN surgery. I
don't think you would be texting
this.
about that though. You wouldn't. I assume
If
you
you-
don't just text. Doctors don't just text each other. Hey, can you perform a gyno exam?
But what if they're like, yo, this is like interesting readings. You really have to do this so I can understand like what this really means.
Yeah, they're like, hey, can you send some military to Yemen?
Yeah.
That was a politics joke.
Around that time, Fred changed his phone password. And we do have an edit. It seems that everyone is reacting specifically bad towards this part. I want to note that, and all of you might think I'm delusional, but Leia is Fred's friend and a very chill coworker from Hospital A. He was never mentioned again by Fred with Tom. Tom sent her chart because she was at Hospital B, and Fred already knew that she was getting fibroid surgery because they are friends. Fred already knew that she was there in Hospital B, so Tom showing her chart was most likely him saying, hey, look, she's already here. And Fred told him to please do an exam on her to make sure that she's okay.
Girl.
Because Tom didn't laugh or anything. Okay, does that make sense?
OP, you are reaching.
Yeah.
You are reaching.
Oh, OP. I checked again recently because I had this sinking feeling. He's lied to me before, like when he came to my place wasted and swore that he hadn't had a drink. What? Nothing could have prepared me for what I found this time. Fred and Tom have been regularly objectifying nearly every attractive woman that they work with. Some messages include, Fred on Nurse Monica. Her body is amazing. Her butt is delicious. Her kitty must be wild, dude. I was staring at her huge front airbags. I want to suck them until all the plastic comes out.
Immediately, HR.
Yeah.
Ring, 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 HR. Screenshot, screenshot, screenshot. Here you go.
Literally.
Fire them. Break up.
That is so insane.
Dude, if any of my friends ever
Disgusting.
texted me that, I'd be like, okay,
Yeah.
dude.
Blocked. Oh my
Oh, what?
God.
Fred on Nurse Elena. She looks impossible to satisfy. She
Ew.
must be crazy in bed. Nice butt. And Tom said, yeah, she says so. She claims herself to be good in bed. Fred also sent Tom a picture. These were already opened, C1's pictures, so I didn't see them, of a woman. I suspect Monica or Elena. Apparently, some girl sent him a picture or selfie exercising at home. And he said, you won't believe this. Look how hot she is. Look at her exercising at home. And since the weather is hot. And that picture made him, quote, kind of corny. He claims that they weren't sent directly to him, that those were actually screenshots from a story and not from a chat with her. Tom even joked, well, you see where she's going, sending you those pics. You should have 2 phones for you to be able to save those pics. What? And Fred replied, nah, I won't go that far. There was also another one in April in which Fred sent Tom a picture. Again, I couldn't see those, to which Tom replied, oh my gosh! And then Fred said, you told me to shoot my shot everywhere. There were also direct messages with some of the women. He replied pretty to one of Elena's stories.
Oh my God, he's one of those guys.
His chats with Monica and Beth seemed work-related, but I suspect that he deletes messages. His chat with Leah was empty. Then there was a particularly disturbing message from Fred told Tom, as soon as I'm done with work on this shift, I'll go sleep with Sam. As in sleep next to someone during a shift. Wait, what? Okay, all right. When I confronted him, he pretended to not know who Sam was until I showed him proof that he follows her on Instagram. And he changed his story, saying that she was not on his shift, which was a lie, and eventually admitted that she changed shifts in December, also probably a lie. He keeps brushing all this off as jokes, saying things like Monica's front airbags are ugly anyway, and no one ever sent me a picture. And then he's not shooting this shot at all because he works really hard, and that's true, I guess, because I know it's not easy to work in the ER.
This is what happens when people are raised on Grey's Anatomy.
Oh,
Is it?
You're literally gaslighting yourself. If OP comes out of this as like, okay, and we're working on it.
Yeah.
Like, girl, this man is disgusting.
Yeah.
Like, are you not embarrassed to be dating him?
Yeah.
He's disgusting.
Absolutely. I mean, terrible person in general, but then also while saying all of these things while he's literally dating you,
Literally dating you.
is
like,
in that, like, I feel like you couldn't technically call that cheating, but like pretty
absolutely.
much
I mean, yeah, he's
would
trying to
feel
cheat.
the same.
He's
Yeah.
absolutely trying to cheat.
Speaking as if he is. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, just commenting on girls' things, like pretty, like that's
Yeah.
cheating.
But there's just too much. Too many comments, too many lies. I don't have concrete proof that he's physically cheated, but emotionally, mentally, I feel
Yeah.
like he's constantly fishing for attention, testing boundaries, looking at his coworkers in a spicy way, and mocking women with his friend. Reading their chats made me sick. The way they talk about women, like meat, like playthings, is deeply dehumanizing. And it's not just 1 or 2 messages, it's hundreds. And the worst part, he chose to talk about all of this with his best friend like it's normal. I feel so overwhelmed. I don't trust him. I don't even know if I truly ever did. But I also don't know if I'm overreacting. Is this something men do just for fun?
Girl, come on.
Are these just jokes, or is this the ugliest kind of red flag? What would you do if you were in my shoes? There is an edit for the people saying that I should report him. I know that you're completely right. Unfortunately, this kind of behavior has been normalized in my culture. You see residents cheating all the time with nurses and such.
the thing is, this isn't cheating. This isn't
Yeah.
2 people who, you know, have made a decision together to cheat on, you know, their partners, whatever. They're 2 adults who have made the decision. That's bad.
Sure.
Totally different. That is a consensual agreement between
Yeah.
those 2 parties. This is 2 freaking creeps,
Yeah.
like freaking predators who are commenting on all the professionals that they work with
Yeah.
and saying disgusting things
Mhm.
and also cheating on you.
Exactly. I was in such a shock and still processing all of this. My whole body is shaking from being so vulnerable by sharing this post. And I also want to thank all the kind words. I really needed them. Also, I do work, but from home. But it's not nearly as lucrative as working in a health center, which has led to me not being able to pay my therapist anymore. You don't have to pay us to listen to our full episodes with more stories just like this one. Just go to Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, whatever your favorite podcast app is, and search OK Storytime, completely free.
Search it up.
Yeah, there is a little bit more to the story and a little update.
I really,
coming up, but
I like need OP to immediately break up with her boyfriend.
Yeah.
And report him because I'm gonna be mad if that doesn't end
This is not
This doesn't
someone
end
you
well.
want to be with. It's not someone you want to eventually start a family with and have
No.
sons with.
No,
Not at all.
You do not want this person to be around daughters. You do not want this person to be raising sons. No.
Nope. There is a little bit of an update, so let's get into it. I really didn't expect for so many people to respond and to be so invested in this situation. It's even funny to read some people saying it's fake. It's also worth noting that I did use AI to improve my writing. If I hadn't, I think I wouldn't have been able to get my point across. It's shocking. It's shocking seeing people's negative reactions for everything, even for things that I talked about early about our relationship that I didn't think were that bad. I didn't plan to continue with this ugly story, but since so many people are invested, here it goes. Today I spoke with him, telling him that I'm going to report him to his female bosses, because he also spoke about them, but I didn't add that. And he got so mad that he told me that he's my enemy now. What? And that we should break up. It's over. And he also responded with a threat saying that was an illegal invasion to privacy and that he would speak to his cousin who's an attorney and that his parents will find out about this.
Oh, come on. OP doesn't need she's not the police. She doesn't need a warrant.
Yeah.
Is it maybe bad for a relationship to snoop in someone's phone? Yeah.
Sure.
You're not on trial.
Yeah.
She can snoop in your phone. That's
also just a funny way of saying
Yeah,
it too.
like, you
Like
have
that's
to be-
illegal. I'm going to tell my parents about it.
Come on, dude.
It's like that's
Okay,
not
I'll just tell your parents what you were doing. So
yeah, it's like great. I'll like are you going to tell them what I found?
yeah.
like everyone should know about this. Actually,
Yeah,
Yeah.
like please tell them.
Everyone.
Right. And I'm very close with his parents. So he will be prepared. And I told him, okay. What amazed me at that moment is that he would be okay with his family finding out the things that he says. But oh well, that I guess is for the best. It's all too overwhelming, but I do feel some clarity now. And that is the end of that story. Wow. Well, I'm glad that OP is out of that situation because holy crap.
Too.
Holy crap, man.
Yikes.
Disgusting
Yikes on bikes,
people
man.
in the
That's
world.
gross. Truly gross.
Disgusting. But we've got another story coming right up.
Yeah.
my best friend hooked up with my ex-girlfriend before we broke up.
That's not your best friend.
I recently found out that my best friend effed my ex-girlfriend of 3 years, although I have had my suspicions for almost a year. About 9 months ago, my girlfriend Jenna and I broke up due to distance. We both went away to different universities and many issues within the relationship. By the way, this comes from Queen Robbie, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStoriesTime subreddit. I'm Riley.
I'm Dakota.
And I'm Keon.
And OP says, Jenna broke up with me, and I was broken. I really thought I was going to marry her. But I do understand why things happened the way they did. Shortly after, we both ended up going back to our hometown for Christmas break, and I did not know how to act around her. But one day, my best friend, John, invited me over to hang out and watch some movies.
No, it's not our John.
John and Jenna had been friends for a while too, and he invited her as well. He asked me if it would be okay if she came, and I reluctantly said yes because I did not want to make things uncomfortable within our circle of friends. But when we all got there, I noticed they were being very touchy and obviously flirty. I was super uncomfortable as it had been only 2 weeks since we broke up. I left and started to become very suspicious. All my friends said I had nothing to worry about, as John or Jenna would never do something like that to me.
Never?
Jenna used to have this old Tumblr page that she would write poetry on and had a bunch of writings about our relationship. She only wrote about romance based on real experiences that she had. Only me and her knew about it. One night, I was a few bottles of wine down.
Few bottles of
Oh
wine.
my god!
Were they like the little ones on the airplane?
No way they could have
Oh.
been. And feeling nostalgic. So I decided to go and check the Tumblr page in order to mope while reading poetry about things when things were good between us. I had believed she hadn't uploaded in almost a year at this point, but I was surprised to see there was a new post. A whole new poem entitled, Can't Stop Thinking About You.
Wow, how original.
Started to freak out. There was no specific mention of John, but I could just tell it was about him and her hooking up and how romantic it was.
I can't stop thinking about you and the times when we were together and it was forbidden, and how much better I liked you than the man that I was no longer smitten by.
I think it was a haiku or...
You suck!
As previously mentioned, I was wasted and therefore had no idea what to do. I was shaking nonstop and texted John at 2 in the morning. He assured me that nothing had happened and was even willing to meet up the next morning. So we did. In the morning, John picked me up and we went for coffee, and I confronted him. He held my hands and said, "I promise I would never do anything like that to you. Never would, never will." So I believed it, and I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I just assumed she hooked up with some dude, and that was that. I then asked Jenna, and she said the same thing, that it didn't happen and that I'm just paranoid. For the next couple of months, I was still paranoid, but I was giving them the benefit of the doubt. They could not do that to me. It was impossible. I would see them together and even would hang out with the both of them. I invited them over for the Super Bowl and would constantly see them when I go back and visit my hometown. Fast forward 9 months, and my friend Chris came up to see me. Her and Jenna are very close, and it seemed as though she knew something. I was not going to pry, as I thought ignorance was bliss in the situation. But we got wasted one night, and I just straight up asked, and lo and behold, I was right all along.
So we can just be like, oh, that's new information, never talking to these people again and moving on with my life.
Okay, yes, but everyone's different, and I feel like everyone needs their own sense of closure so they can close that chapter of their life in that poem and move on and write a new one.
I'm vengeance.
They're not dead.
I'm vengeance.
I think that we need to, I don't know, maybe confront Jenna and John.
Explain it.
Anyways, OP, find your closure and move on. So, Jenna told Chris that John and Jenna did F and have been kind of a thing ever since. What's even worse is that John has a girlfriend too, who I'm very good friends with. I am so beyond hurt, and I feel so betrayed. The issue does not lie in the fact that she hooked up with someone. It's the fact that it was with John, and that they were so willing to lie and never tell if it wasn't for Chris telling me. I didn't know what to do, but I do know that I plan on confronting them both. I still am in love with her, and I just feel so effing numb. I don't know what to believe anymore, and I just need to try and figure out how to move on. Thank you all so much. We got some comments on how to move on. Guys, how we moving on? How we doing it?
I mean, for
Vengeance.
me, no, it's not. Well, clearly, if you're friends with somebody and you know they're being cheated on, you should put that out there.
Yeah.
And do it in a way where it's like, this is, I mean, try not to do it in a way with like hate in your heart or whatever. It's going to be hard, but they deserve to know because it is your business, because you're directly affected by it. But yeah, and then just try to new life now. You don't even have to have them in it in any way.
Nope.
New life.
But I think, this guy's in college. This is probably his first horrible cheating breakup. It's going to take a little bit of time to figure out how to closure it. He might need to write a song about it. Also, we have a comment. So, wow, you gave so much space in your mind to your ex-girlfriend. 9 months being paranoid and suspicious when you could have just walked away and spent the time healing. Move on. Yes, the betrayal hurts. But so what? Ain't nothing you can't do about it except cut them both off, move on, and start healing. Pay them no mind. This shows he has no respect for you, and he takes you for the granted. This falls under the category of cheating, and if the cheating is a deal breaker thing for you, then you know the answer. He will not stop pursuing her, but he will get smart in hiding things from you unless you catch him so he can deny that nothing happened. Put your foot down and end things with him over this to stop, to save your respect for him. We have an update. I think OP is going to call him, maybe cower away from actually doing anything about it. You feel me?
I mean, I feel like you gotta at least let your friend know they're being cheated on.
Yeah.
Schmeated on.
Hate that word. Please don't use that
It
word.
just rhymed, guys. I'm sorry. It's how my brain works.
Yeah. Have you ever been cheated on?
Not to my knowledge.
Have you ever been cheated on, Keon?
I've had some pretty traumatic stuff happen to me, but not
Let's
to
talk
my
about it.
knowledge. My first serious girlfriend in high school broke up with me after she went to my prom, and then I didn't get to go to her prom, so I spent money on like another suit for that or like something. And then I went to the after party, and I saw her hooking up with somebody from my class, and she said, "You shouldn't be here." And she's like, "I hope you focus on yourself."
How'd you move on from that?
I got hot. Wait, I've always been hot. I don't know.
You got a fat.
Bingo.
So we got an update. So I finally confronted both John and Jenna. I called John on the phone since we could not meet in person, and it went exactly how I thought it was going to go. He told me he was never going to tell me, and that he does not regret lying because I got to have a good year. I told him that either he's going to tell his girlfriend or I will. Then he hung up and haven't spoken since. He blocked me on everything immediately after we hung up. Next was dealing with Jenna. But it also went exactly how I thought it was going to go. Jenna was trying to bait me with, I'm so awful and I deserve all the hate. But I wasn't going to play into her game of trying to make her feel better. I said my piece, and then it was done. We have not spoken since. Later tonight, John's ex came over to my place and we talked everything out. I told her some things that John left out when he told her and made it much harder for her. But she needed to hear everything, I think. They're broken up and he also blocked her on everything right after he told me. Goes to show what kind of people we had in our lives. Ha, golly.
Yeah, I would have been so triggered by the I deserve all the hate. I'd be like, oh, so you're seeing things clearly now.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's so sucky that you're cheating on someone for a whole year. I think OP moved fast on this and was really quick to tell her, you know. Also, was Jenna okay with John still having a girlfriend?
Yeah.
Like, what the heck?
Who you were also friends with? Like, of course you deserve all the hate. Like, why are you even saying that? Like, do you think I'm going to go, no? Yeah, you do. Now, shut up and let me tell you what I think, and I'm going to leave. Then you can be like, all day long. I don't care.
Yeah, this is so weird, and I don't know, not a fan. So, a day after I confronted John and Jenna's mom messaged me. She and I always had very good friendships during Jenna and I's relationship. She messaged me originally trying to understand what was going on and why everyone was being so mean to Jenna. I didn't tell her the situation, but explain how there were many lies that happened and that everyone involved wanted to just move forward without her. I think we should tell her what the truth is.
Yeah, no, the truth is very necessary here.
Oh, well, it continues, but she didn't like that at all. She started saying it was my fault that everyone was upset with Jenna and started making claims about how Jenna wasn't in the wrong at all. So I decided that I should just explain what happened and why everyone was so done with Jenna. During this argument between Jenna's mom and me, Jenna's mom mentioned, how could it have been 2 weeks after your breakup if you broke up in October? Which hit even harder because Jenna and I did break up in October for less than 12 hours, but she never told her mom we got back together. So once again, another lie. By the way, we'll never lie to you. And you can find your favorite podcast platform on your favorite podcast with your favorite people on iHeartRadio, Spotify, and OK Storytime. Just search up OK Storytime. And yeah, there you go.
Yeah, baby. Use your
Yay.
thumbs. Use your fingers.
But guys, any other thoughts before we finish up here? I'd say
I don't
get with
know,
John's
man.
ex.
Like in
That's my
these
hot take.
situations, it's like you just gotta like put the truth out there and then just be like, and y'all can do with that whatever you want. You want to accept it? You want to think it's a lie? I'm not gonna waste all of this emotional energy trying to convince you what I know is true is true. I already told you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. So we're going to finish this out. I told Jenna's mom that we actually broke up at the end of November and that Jenna is still obviously lying to you. I said, I truly think Jenna is not telling you the truth about everything, but that is a conversation that is for her and you, not with me. And then we stopped talking after that. I'm just ready to move on. I have had this weighing on me since last December, and I am finally free of worrying and being paranoid. I have people in my life that actually care, and that's all I can really ask for. I read all the replies on the last post, and I just want to say thank you for all the advice and comments and concerns. It means a lot. And that's the end of that story, everyone.
My girlfriend is a picky eater, so I stopped cooking for
Depends on how picky.
Dino chicken nuggets
Yeah, she like,
exclusively
I
only.
hate everything that you cook. And you're like just trying to help. You have to see.
Maybe you're a bad cook, OP. Let's find out. This has nothing to do with my relationship in general, as it is great, but about eating habits. So I'm more or less a hobby cook, and I'm originally from Europe. As a result, I cook a lot of food from my home countries. Mom is Greek, dad is Austrian. And I try new stuff quite often. As an example, I worked at a Korean restaurant in the past, and the owner taught me recipes, and I frequent cooking sites and own a crap ton of cookbooks. As a result, I like to try a lot of different foods and try a lot of different tastes: spicy, sweet, sour, etc. And by the way, this comes from user Throwaway Eatery. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. My girlfriend, on the other hand, only really eats local food or fast food, which is fine by me. The issue is she wants/likes me to cook her food, which I did for a good while. But she basically likes nothing and tries nothing new, which results in me having to cook bland stuff and trying nothing new unless I cook myself different food on top of cooking her food, which is not an option because I work full time.
This is a red flag for me.
Now, I also got a bunch of new friends, and I have taken up inviting them over to cook twice a month or so I can try my hand at new stuff, and having them enjoy my cooking makes me happy. Well, of course, my girlfriend is generally there too, and where everyone likes it most of the time, she pretty much takes half a bite and orders takeout later in the evening. So I stopped cooking for her. Now, I just make my own food and let her make whatever she wants, which is pissing her off. She can't cook. So she complains about having to get takeout or getting tired of just eating mac and cheese, whereas previously I would cook full meals for both of us. Now, I tried to meet her in the middle and make extra of what I am having, but she rarely eats it unless it's something like a burger. I made a spicy stir fry yesterday and she wouldn't even try it, leaving me with a heap of leftovers. Luckily, my neighbors like my cooking. The thing is, I am done meeting her in the middle, and I don't get why she's mad about it anyways, since she won't eat what I cook unless it's tailored to her tastes. But she is adamant about being angry and says that I should make stuff we both enjoy. Now, I would be fine with that if it was not for the fact she's the pickiest eater ever. So am I just being a little D-bag here? There's some comments here that are relevant. Enter the bugbear, says, not the a-hole. I don't want to be the red flag guy, but food and your relationship to it is a relatively important part of a relationship. It seems like you have fundamentally different attitudes as to your diets. That's fine in and of itself, but her entitlement is super crappy. You've decided to compromise and she hasn't. She can eat what you make something herself, buy food for herself, etc., but chaining you to a world of chicken nuggets and plain hamburgers is not a reasonable option. Fellow foodie here. OP responds, that's what I'm saying. I am not the type to complain about eating takeout every so often or making fried chicken and burgers or something of like, I mean, I enjoy it sometimes. I do. But she has such a specific bracket of stuff that she likes that it is impossible for me to make anything if I take her tastes into account. Like, I made her a burger with blue cheese in the meat once. She thought it was disgusting, so I can't even experiment with the stuff that she does like.
I'm not a huge blue cheese.
I was going to say, blue cheese is a very big jump.
That's a big jump for someone who only likes chicken nuggets.
If you did like cheddar or like a Mott's or something like that's like a simple cheese, I think that's a little bit easier. But
I think maybe with this girl, you got to work your way up to the hardest.
This is baby steps here.
It was a confident leap that you made, and I'm here for it, OP.
I know you are.
Shout
I'm
out
also
my
here for
fellow
it.
Well, no, I mean,
blue
if you're
cheese enthusiast.
if you love blue cheese, I'm sure it's great to get exploratory. But with this girl, like she could not handle that.
A little bit of mold on my cheese, please.
Just a
Just a little bit. Enter the bug then replies to OP, dear God, run screaming. Which is sarcastic. But seriously though, I am a bit of a hobby cook myself, and that level of restriction would drive me up a wall. I rarely make the same meal twice because I love to experiment with the ingredients. To have her completely turn up her nose at something as moderate and delicious as a blue cheeseburger would drive me nuts. That's definitely not to say that I'm opposed to more mundane but still delicious meals. I like burgers, I like mac and cheese, I like chicken nuggets a lot, but they are for sure convenience foods. Based on my own experience, I wonder if your girlfriend understands that cooking is a hobby as well as a means of sustenance for you. OP says, that is exactly the issue for me. I can't do with the restrictions. Like, even if I were to again meet in the middle and agree to alternate days where I cook for her taste and the next day cook for me, I would still end up eating within the same bracket 15 out of 30 days. And if I could do small add-ons at the very least to have a bit of experimentation, it would be one thing, but even that is rarely within the realm of possibility. Now I don't know what to think. It sounds like both of these people are being way too difficult.
Yeah, I just think that if they want this to work out, they need to have a conversation where OP says, hey, I really like making new things. This is a hobby for me that I care about.
Yeah.
And I am not going to make you a fully separate meal. I don't have time for that. You might not like what I make, but I don't like what you want. And then just kind of work out a compromise where maybe it's like, okay, one day a week, we try and make a new meal and see, like, introduce you to things to see if there is anything that you like, but we're like working up to it.
I feel like it needs to be like, hey babe, like, why do you not like these foods? Or, what can I do to spice up your palate? Branch it out a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to the whole fast food stuff either, but it seems like something you eat a few times a year, not something you eat at the very least once a week. I mean, back in Europe, I would eat fast food perhaps once a year. She does understand, and I mean, I am pretty clear about enjoying cooking, and I am pretty clear about it being a hobby. Egghead1995 says, not the a-hole. What are you supposed to do? Only eat food you don't like? If she wants home-cooked meals and doesn't like what you want to make, she needs to cook for herself. Maybe every once in a while, cook something you both enjoy, but it shouldn't be every night. OP continues, well, it's not even that I dislike a burger, because I don't. There's plenty of interesting stuff you can do with a burger. The issue is that there's one rigid way she likes a burger. And once I experiment, she makes weird faces and dislikes it, whereas I try new stuff a lot and dislike eating the same stuff twice in a week, more or less. Deleted says, this is incredibly rude on top of her being ridiculously picky. If someone makes you a meal, the least you can do is be gracious about it. If you genuinely don't like it, you don't have to eat it, but making faces, how disrespectful and childish. Was she spoiled by her parents? I kind of doubt she is literally incapable of enjoying anything but the most basic kids menu food. I dated a super picky eater, and he was that way because his mom pandered to his pickiness his whole life to the point that he wouldn't even try anything new. OP says, yeah, that probably was a part of why this is all sort of rubbing me the wrong way. I mean, it is one thing to dislike what I make, it's another to act childish and rude about it. She wasn't spoiled, doubt, but she did grow up basically eating fast food and the basic mashed potatoes, canned veggies, and meat type diet, which is weird considering her mom is Latin American. And there is an update. So before we get in the update, do you have any other thoughts you would like to?
Not any more thoughts at the moment. Just the same thoughts. The conversation is needed.
The thing that keeps bugging me is that he keeps repeating how he's like, I don't even mind burgers. It's just she likes one really plain. That's the easiest thing to make.
Yeah.
So I don't understand where your issue is. If you're like, I just don't even have time. I don't get it. Now, I feel like this is more of an issue that OP is sort of is liking his girlfriend less because of how picky she is.
I think so. In that update, he didn't really talk a lot about the fact that he was annoyed that she was asking him to do this. It was more like,
it's more like she can't eat blue cheese.
Yeah, it was like the blue cheese, which is
cringe
kind of
to me. Being a food elitist, I'm sorry, that's cringe. Quite a bit has happened in the meantime, so let's just jump right into it. So roughly a week after the post, me and my girlfriend had a rather large argument, mostly due to how she was behaving towards me, which as some pointed out was rather disrespectful. The argument was triggered after one of my dinner parties where she behaved in the way I described, where she tasted like one element of the dish, put it away, and did not eat anymore. Now, as you may imagine, I was feeling embarrassed in front of my friends, but this time Cleo, the wife of a friend I usually invite, spoke up and told her she was acting extremely rude, which then resulted in some of my other friends saying the same. And, well, the party was ruined. My girlfriend got mad, and in the late evening, this argument happened. I was pretty nasty to her, and she was pretty nasty to me, and we barely spoke for 3 days. But after she spoke to her mom, who agreed that she was behaving badly, she decided to apologize, and we made some deals concerning cooking. 1, she would start cooking with me. 2, she would try new things. And 3, she would no longer act rudely. If she did not want something, she would not join a dinner party instead of acting snobbishly and not eating anyways. 4, she would eat healthier, since I also told her her diet was gonna, her at some point. In the last 5 or so weeks, there have been large changes. She has opened up to eating a lot more stuff, slowly but steadily. She has realized there's a lot more that is nice to eat beyond bland stuff, and cooking together has been fun. She is really, really horrible at cooking, but we'll get there.
But the fact that she's trying is great.
Yeah,
that's the
sure.
point. It's like, okay, you don't have to be great off the bat. It's just like you need to start learning. It's a skill. You gotta develop it.
It took mom being like, hey, where are your manners? For her to be like, oh, I am being rude.
Yeah. Also, I think she should apologize to all those people at the party if she hasn't already. Yeah.
To
If they're
all the people at the party?
all of them were like, you're being really freaking rude. I'd be like, if these were friends, I'd be like, you should go apologize.
That's interesting to me.
You know what you should do? Cook for them.
It's probably not going to be very good if she's not very
It's
good.
an apology meal.
She's like, hello, sorry.
Simple pasta. Simple spaghetti.
Yeah.
OP continues, hopefully sooner or later, this problem we've been having will go away. Anyways, thanks for the judgment and advice, everyone. Also, exchanging recipes was rather fun. The corn recipe someone sent me was especially nice. And by the way, it would be especially nice for you if you listen to full episodes with stories like this, wherever you get podcasts, be it Spotify or Apple Podcasts or literally any other podcast platform under the sun. Just search OK Storytime. And there you are. Since someone asked about a previous recipe, this is a comment where I explained it. I'm not sure what you are looking for in terms of recipes, but I can toss you a simple one, which I really like. Grilled feta. My mom used to make it when I was young, and it's really, really easy to make. Basically, you buy feta. Note that this means feta, not white cheese, as they will often try to fool you into thinking that garbage is feta. Some eggs, a proper baguette, breading, rocket, a lemon, basil, cherry tomatoes, as well as some dried herb mix.
But
You
with
just
feta?
split the yolks from the egg whites, whisk the yolks, cut up the feta into lines, dunk the feta in the egg yolks, then dunk it into the breading and make sure it's fully covered. And then you put a whole bunch of olive oil in a pan and you put the feta in. You make sure there's a lot of oil in it, makes it easier to grill both sides properly. Then you just slice up your baguette, you put some olive oil and herb mix on it and put it on the sides and slightly toast it. And then you smear the feta on the baguette and add some tomatoes, basil and rocket, squeeze a bit of lemon juice on it, and bam, you got a tasty starter that barely takes any time and only an would dislike. You can pretty much do the same with halloumi, but you don't have to bread it. Okay, and that's the end of that story. My girlfriend is upset because of a picture with my sister.
What kind of picture?
Big question, needs a big answer. I recently turned 21 a few days ago.
Congrats.
My girlfriend, who's also 21, couldn't make it to my 21st birthday party because she was traveling on a trip overseas.
Lame.
I told her that's okay. I was just going to have a small party with me and my family. I know people normally have a big party for their 21st, and my parents offered to throw me one, but I told them I'd rather just have a family party. And by the way, this comes from user FB Dilemma. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, it was really fun. Just me, my parents, and my two sisters, 22 and 24. My mother baked a wonderful cake, and we all had a great time. Just before I was about to blow out the candles, my oldest sister took a picture of me sitting next to my sister as she kissed me on the cheek, right as I was getting ready to blow out the candles. It was a really adorable picture, and everyone in my family loved it. My face was red and flustered, both from shyness and from getting ready to blow out the candles. It's a really cute photo. My smile came out so natural and unintended, and we both look so adorable. I wish I could show you guys, but I won't. They told me I should make it my profile pic on Facebook, and I agreed.
Just tell us what your
So I
profile
did. Later, I was talking to my girlfriend through Skype, and she was asking about my birthday and how it went. I told her it was really fun, and I enjoyed it. It's a shame she wasn't here, and maybe next year I might have a bigger party, if she's here. Everything seemed okay. Well, then she told me she noticed I had changed my profile picture, and she started telling me how the new picture made her upset and uncomfortable. I told her I didn't understand. She said she didn't want a picture of another girl kissing me.
Okay, that's stupid. I'd be like, no, but it's my sister.
Yeah, and OP
It's my
says, OP says, oh, well, I told her it's just my sister.
My sister.
And that it's insane to even think that. She said she knows, but other people who see the picture might not know. She said that other people who see the picture might think it's another girl, or maybe even a new girlfriend. I told her that's silly and ridiculous, especially since her name was tagged in the picture and people could see we have the same last name, so they'd probably put two and two together and guess we're siblings. Plus, that facial resemblance would also give it away. And the girlfriend's like, nah, they're just gonna think you're married.
Also, like, who cares? Who cares if other people think that? You know that's not true. And like if anyone asks, you're like, oh no, that's that's his sister.
Yeah. Nevertheless, she still seems quite concerned and is adamant that I change my profile picture. What should I do? Is she right? Is this a reason to be worried enough that I should change my profile picture? Or is she overreacting to this and I shouldn't change my profile picture? And my girlfriend is an only child. Comment number 1, she's overreacting. It's not like it's some random girl you met on vacation. It's your sister and it's just Facebook. Reply says, this can't possibly be highlighted enough. It's just Facebook.
Exactly.
I get that many people live out their lives on Facebook and that it's a valid means of sharing your life, but it's not the end-all be-all representation of your relationship or your life in general. My boyfriend and I, and plenty of other couples, don't even list our relationship on Facebook. We're not hiding it. Neither of us just finds it important to publicly state our relationship status. We both feel that the people who matter to us will know about it, our relationship. My relationship status does not matter to anyone else. Your girlfriend needs to take a breather and recognize that Facebook doesn't have to exist just so people can get a picture-perfect perspective on her life. OP says, yeah, I don't list my relationships on Facebook either. I would probably ask her if she wants me to. That might make her feel better. But I'm completely the same as you. Everyone who knows me and everyone who matters to me already knows my relationships. I don't need to advertise it to total strangers. And there's an update. I told my sisters about the situation, how my girlfriend was unhappy with the new profile pic and the reasons why, being that she thought someone would see it and make the wrong connection. They both laughed and asked, is she crazy?
That is how
Jokingly.
I would respond.
Yeah, there's no joke there.
Yeah.
She's just...
Like if there was a picture of me like hugging Sam and his future girlfriend was like, I want you to remove that picture. I'd be like, well, one, we look identical. So what?
Yeah. I then proceeded to tell them that while I completely disagreed with her logic and reasoning, and while I thought she was overblowing the issue, I think I might get rid of the profile pic to make her happy. The younger sister, they're both older than me, but one's 22, the other's 24. The one who was in the pic with me said she didn't really care. She said she's a bit disappointed that I was going to replace it so soon, but it's my Facebook, and she doesn't care about Facebook anyway. The older sister was sort of upset, though. She told me she had really liked the photo she had taken of her two younger siblings on such a meaningful occasion, and she was really proud of it. She said we hardly had any family photos together since we had all grown up, and all our old family photos were of when we were kids. She said memories as young adults are still important, and we would still want to look back and remember that someday. That's why she still thought taking photos nowadays was important. My older sister also pointed out that she was sad that I was so ashamed of a photo she had taken of her two younger siblings that she was immensely proud of. I corrected her and pointed out that it's not me that was ashamed, rather my girlfriend who didn't like the picture. And that's why I was taking it down. My sister said I should stop trying to hide behind my girlfriend as an excuse, and that if I took the picture down, it would be entirely my decision. And if I do it, I should at least defend it using my own argument instead of just saying, she made me do it. We then reached a compromise. I'll keep the picture up for 1 week as my profile picture, then I'll change it to something else. Well, I thought we had already all agreed we don't care.
This is too much effort to put into a
Yes.
Facebook profile pic.
Why are we caring?
That, like, I guarantee you maybe two people are actually looking at.
Yeah. So in the meantime, my sister had taken many other photos of our family during my birthday, and I said I'd go with her to get some of them developed, and we can frame them and put them around the house. They were both okay with that, and it seemed like a well enough solution. Later, I was talking to my girlfriend on Skype. I articulated to her my feelings. I told her while I respect and understood her motives for wanting me to change the picture, I myself wanted to keep the picture up for another week. I didn't try to use my sister pressuring me into doing it as an excuse, but instead I took responsibility for my decision, although I did mention that they seemed upset at the suggestion to take it down, and I was taking their feelings into consideration when I made the decision. I also told her that after about a week, I'll put up a new picture of me and her as my profile picture. Then when she comes back from her trip, we can take a new picture together and I'll make that my profile picture.
Oh my gosh.
I should point out that none of her profile pictures or her current one have featured me. They've always just been single shots of her, usually like at the beach with sunglasses and a bikini, that kind of picture. Just her, not me, nobody else. Anyway, she agreed to this and said it was my decision and thanked me for appreciating her feelings and not dismissing them. Again, it seemed like a well enough solution that had been found. Alas, that was not the end of it.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
The picture itself, which was now my profile picture, while getting many likes, was also getting some nasty comments. Lots of people, including friends who know me and my girlfriend and my sisters, were posting really rude and lewd comments or joking about the picture. I had no idea what they were on, but even one of my cousins made a silly comment. Some guy even posted WTF. I thought it was ridiculous.
That is so strange to me because I kind of understand if this were posted on like a large platform, like this was a a big creator or something and they posted this and then people in the comments were like siblings are dating and I understand if that happened, but this is like all people he knows who are commenting these weird things. Like that doesn't make any sense to me.
Sometime later that same day, I was talking to my girlfriend again. She told me she had changed her mind and she really wanted me to change the profile picture. She was unhappy with it. I asked her why it was bothering her so much. She told me she wasn't personally comfortable with it. I told her it's just my sister's, and she was like, yeah, but it's not a sisterly kiss in the profile pic. I had no idea what the heck she meant. It was just a kiss on the cheek, but I said fine. I deleted the picture from my Facebook and computer. I was actually kind of peeved and I deleted my entire Facebook account. I should have done it ages ago. No Facebook, no problem. My girlfriend asked me where my Facebook had gone. I told her it was deleted. She said that was unnecessary and I had overreacted. I told her I did it for myself because I didn't even want it anymore. It was annoying and tedious and I never liked it. She asked me how we were supposed to communicate and stay in touch now. I told her we were communicating every day using Skype. We don't need Facebook to stay in touch. But she said, what about sharing pictures? I told her,
Message, text, literally text.
let's send postcards to each other.
There's so many different ways to send pictures to your partner than Facebook.
She pointed out that takes really long, and it's much easier to just upload pictures to Facebook where we can both see them. I then brought up a risky suggestion. I told her, why don't we just use her account? She can give me her password, and I'll use her account to view her pictures whenever I want, and I can upload pictures of me and her onto her account. To my surprise, she was really receptive to that idea and instantly accepted.
Okay.
She wanted to change her name to make it a joint Facebook account for both of us. I told her that was unnecessary. She can keep it under her name and details, but just have it used by both of us. She agreed. She also asked me not to read any of her private messages, and I agreed. She changed her own profile picture to a picture of both of us and said when she gets back, we can take a new one. Now, I know what many of you are going to say. Oh my God, you use her Facebook account? You are so controlling and obsessive and creepy. Well, it was something we both agreed to. And even though I suggested it, she was receptive to it, and it was something we both wanted, and thus it was both our decisions. And I fully intend to keep my word not to snoop through her private messages. I'm actually really glad she trusts me and believes my word on that. I logged into her Facebook account using her password just to see if it works. Turns out it does. She really did give me her true Facebook password. I trolled her and wrote on her page using her account, I really love OP. He's the best boyfriend in the whole world. Hee hee. Then I logged out. I was half expecting her to delete it, but I logged back in 3 hours later and saw it had not been deleted, but she had liked the comment instead.
I thought OP was like leading, like we were building up to a problem. Seems like they're chill.
What a funny
It seems
vibe
like
they're
we've-
on.
We've figured it out and everything's fine.
This
I
feels
don't
like a
know.
story that would have been written in 2008.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say this sounds
yeah.
like middle school for me.
It does.
Right.
Well, it sounds
think
like
Jellibo said
early
it too.
2000s,
It sounds-
like dating. Like,
Yeah. And by the way, you're going to like listening to full episodes with stories just like this. Where are they, you may be asking? Well,
where?
Sophia, they're on Spotify and
Oh.
iHeartRadio and Apple
Wow.
Podcasts.
Wow.
Wherever you listen to podcasts, you can just search OK Storytime and find the just bountiful treasure trove that we have waiting for all of you.
It's good to know.
Okay, we have a little bit more story left here. I think, well, do you have any parting thoughts?
No, I think that this relationship will not last longer than 5 months.
I think it's a red flag in any relationship to be that wrapped up in the
In the social
political
media.
presentation of your social media.
Just make sure that, social media can be fine in moderation, but just be aware because it, can be dangerous.
As for my oldest sister, I still intend to go with her to get those photos developed, just like she promised I would. I sort of agree with her on what she said, that these memories are important and we should try to remember them. My sisters were all like, I can't believe you deleted Facebook. You always overreact to everything. I told them Facebook is literally stupid, and I never really liked it. I always found it an annoying distraction, which I never really enjoyed in the first place because my front page is always flooded with crap I don't care about, and I'm always getting invited to play crap I don't care about, and there's some comments. This whole thing seems like a cluster F of immaturity from everyone involved. As to why it's a cluster F of immaturity, all the comments below are right along my line of thinking. This was a non-issue and OP made it into such a bigger deal than it had to be. Every single action OP took only escalated the problem. Then your sister made a big effing deal about it. Then your friends and cousins started being immature. Then you deleted your Facebook. Then your girlfriend got all pissy because you got rid of your Facebook. This is the exact thing people mean when they say don't make a mountain out of a molehill. Reply to that comment, haha, yeah. In the first post, I thought the girlfriend was being ridiculous, but if everyone was making insane lewd comments, then as a girlfriend, I would probably be annoyed. And as the OP, I would be really annoyed. I get irrationally pissed when people comment private or inappropriate remarks on my statuses and pics. I have a ton of people from my college and work since graduated, so these people are mid-20s to late 50s. And it's insane the crap people feel okay putting on the internet. Comment 2 says, you guys all seem like 12-year-olds. Sorry.
Yep.
Your tendency to tell your sisters about fights with your girlfriend is awful. They will grow to hate her because they'll only hear the bad stuff, and you'll essentially have doomed your relationship. Cut that crap out. Your friends and cousins all sound like immature idiots. Your deletion of your Facebook comes across like the biggest, most obnoxious child's tantrum
No, it doesn't.
you could have. I mean, maybe 10 years ago.
Maybe 10 years ago.
But
it was like
now
a
it's
huge-
just like,
yeah,
who
it's like everyone
cares?
does that, but I guess 10 years ago, different story.
This is a full-blown who actually cares moment.
Yeah.
Like, ugh, fine, I'll just delete it all. Who even wants it anyway? It's stupid. You cannot just massively overreact like that every time someone mildly disagrees with you. You still don't seem to understand that your girlfriend's family is different than yours. She's allowed to have different experiences and different opinions. That she is not silly or wrong for seeing things differently than you. No, she actually is silly and wrong for being upset about his own sister kissing him on the cheek.
Yeah,
Sorry,
she's wrong with
that's
that.
wrong.
I don't agree with that comment.
Yeah, I think, and you know what? I'm just going to skip that. We're at the end now. And that's the end of that. Hey, that's the end of that because those comments were irrelevant.
Leon, is there a 10-year update?
Is there an update?
There's no other updates
So
from that account.
guys, 10 years later, I
There you
finally...
go.
Literally just posted that stuff, and that was it.
Well, that's the end of that story.
I told my girlfriend to grow up. She didn't take it lightly.
Well, maybe she wants to stay young forever.
I, 29 male, and my girlfriend, 22 female, have been a couple for 4 years now. We moved in together soon after we met since money was, and still is, a tense subject for her. Father left behind a bunch of debts. I don't know what was going on there since she doesn't talk about it. By the way, this comes from Ladder Feeling 4953, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, my family believed for a long time that she's a gold digger, and my brother, 33 male, hated her guts for it until recently. My gran passed away, and girlfriend helped my dad with funeral stuff. None of them think like that anymore, but I began questioning a lot. She hops from job to job, always blaming her social anxiety, PTSD, or bosses for it. I pay for most of our things, and she rarely helps with the bills. I say it doesn't bother me, but I wish that she'd do more than pay for groceries, or at least keep a job long enough to pay off her debt so we can find a bigger place, pay off my car, and so on. My brother is, since Gran's death, really close with her and made me realize that she is a lot like his exes. His type is airheaded, bubbly bimbos needing a father figure. Uh-oh.
Man has thoughts.
She is financially dependent on someone, me, refuses to make decisions for us like dinner, dresses like a pastel rainbow and a bat had a love child, watches Disney and still owns stuffed animals, even names them. But OP says she is literally an adult child. I think it's the reason she still depends on my money. She needed to grow up, and that's what I told her. Being emotional as usual, she started crying and apologized, promising to find a job and keep it for longer than 6 months. I told her that that's a good start, but she should also stop her obsession with Disney and get rid of her stuffed animals. She isn't a child anymore and should stop acting like one.
I hate
She
him.
began to hyperventilate and had a panic attack. I called my brother to help since he coached our late sister through her anxiety attacks all the time. Due to trauma from my sister's attacks, I feel sick when something like this happens and try not to be in the room. He came over immediately and counted things with my girlfriend, things she saw, smelled, heard, etc. Then he carried her into our room. Girlfriend still sat on the floor. When he came back, he yelled at me, getting unreasonably angry, saying to leave her a little bit of innocence since she's struggled a lot in her past. CSA, emotional, physical, and that she already did everything that she could to live up to my high expectations. We fought since it is none of my brother's business, and we haven't talked since.
Wow. So your brother came to you, saw you kind of freaking berating your partner, said, hey, let's have some empathy for this young woman who had a pretty tough life and is trying to figure out what she's going to do with her life.
She didn't just start hyperventilating and having a panic attack out of nowhere.
Yeah, come on.
There was a reason for it.
Come on.
An instigator.
Yeah.
Girlfriend is currently going through a couple of job interviews and most of her stuffed animals are gone. Disney is only playing on her phone when we go to bed, and she wants to watch something before sleeping. I like to think I helped my girlfriend a lot by being honest with her, but I hate that my brother is convinced that I am wrong for doing so. New things from today, since I had planned on posting it yesterday, but now this happened. I found out that the vanishing stuffed animals were taken by my brother, so girlfriend wouldn't have to throw them away. She told me that she had donated them. I feel jealous and betrayed because they seem to talk behind my back and be closer than I'd like them to be.
Oh, boo-hoo.
But most importantly, I feel like I forced my girlfriend to have to hide these silly little parts of herself from me. Please give me some advice on how to fix this mess. I'm afraid I messed up big time. Yeah, you freaking messed up.
I don't want to give you advice.
You
don't
messed
deserve
up.
my advice.
You messed up. There is a bit of an edit.
Give me the edit and then I'll give you my thoughts.
Okay, sounds great.
And I will give you advice, OP.
Bye. I don't shame my girlfriend for having any normal hobbies, but come on. Although young, she should be a little more mature. She can vote, drive, and drink. she can be an adult that doesn't call a pink shark Samantha and have it live on our bed. You monster. You are a monster.
You're a monster.
Let Samantha live.
Oh my God.
Let Samantha live.
Okay. Real quick.
Yep.
One, it's very normal for girls and anybody really to have stuffed animals into adulthood. A lot of people have very emotional bonds to stuffed animals. Very normal to watch Disney movies.
So normal.
I don't know why you're shaming her about those things.
Yeah.
And like 3, she had a really tough childhood. And when you have those things happen to you when you're a child, sometimes staying or like keeping things that allow you to be kind of a kid a little bit longer are very comforting. You know, like things like stuffed animals that like that provides a little bit of comfort into your daily life when you've had a very tough childhood.
It's not even the kind of thing that like needs to just be there until you're like healed or anything
No,
like that. It's,
absolutely not.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, well,
Yeah.
you know, maybe I didn't get to enjoy this
Exactly.
to the fullest
Your
extent.
childhood was taken away from her.
Yeah, there is a little bit of side information as well with this edit. She is in therapy 1 to 2 times a week and on medication. Those are part of the reason that she can't participate more in paying the bills. She also only started liking all that pink bubbly Disney stuff 2 years ago. Before that, she refused everything too childish and mostly wore black. Since her therapy started 2 years ago, she started to change to this. Funny, though, that I get called names while everyone seems okay with my 33-year-old brother being close to her as well. But we do have a whole update. So, on to the update. Hey, so I don't know why, but I wanted to update you guys, at least the ones who actually tried to be helpful. About me, 29 male, and my girlfriend, 22 female. I listened to you about the stuffed animals and told girlfriend to bring them back home. I still struggle to understand why she needs her stuffed animals, but as you guys told me, they comfort her. So bring those guys back home, right? I also explained to her what my initial worry about our money situation was, and that I clearly became nitpicky and was the a-hole. She declined, saying she likes them to stay at my brother's, 33 male's house. They also multiplied since my brother buys her those Squishmallow things whenever he sees them at Walmart. And I found out that he offered her one of his spare bedrooms for all her things. He even went out and bought paint to paint the walls for her. Now what? Okay, that's not like a storage room kind of thing. That's like a I'm moving in kind of thing. Painting the walls? I don't know. He lets her use that room as an office/bedroom, and in exchange, she assists him with his business. Most of her job is basically customer service and packaging and mailing packages. He's even ready to pay her a small salary since he claims that he needs help anyway and would rather give his friend the job than anybody else. According to him, since she struggles with her anxiety, this would be a good way for her to get used to a little stress, work with customers, and work routines. If I'm honest, I don't know how to feel about it. Yes, I wanted her to have a job and be more mature, but this job with my brother just rubs me the wrong way. Always has. I was thinking a lot about telling you guys since I feel embarrassed to even talk about it, but my brother builds special toys for the bedroom. Oh, like extra weird ones. He makes stuff from wood, silicone, and some accessories. This is just a weird situation all the way around.
I don't like these brothers. I'm just going to be real. I'm not a big fan of them.
I don't like fully trust the older brother either.
I don't at all.
I'm just very worried for this young woman.
Me too. Me too.
I'm very worried.
Our family is surprisingly cool with it since it's impressive woodwork, even bed frames. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Totally fine for him to do that.
Sure.
I'm just worried about like everything else we're learning in conjunction.
No, exactly.
With his close relationship with the 22.
I think that is a very good clarification.
Yeah.
If you want to do this stuff,
go
right ahead. I'm sure they're beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm sure it is impressive woodwork.
Yeah.
But yeah, knowing what we know,
yes,
I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And he earns very well with the fetishes of people. Great. Okay. I never felt comfortable about all of that. I'm not judging, but it is very out there to have your brother own a business like that. Girlfriend should not be exposed to all of that. I also don't like the way he said that. I try to better myself, so I told her that and how it makes me feel. But she just laughed in my face and told me that she doesn't mind being exposed to those kinks. I lost my cool again, asking how could she be so nonchalant about supporting people hurting others for pleasure, and she accused me of kink shaming.
You are.
Now I appear to be the bad guy again.
Blast.
And also found out that my girlfriend is into stuff like that. So clearly I do not want her near my brother anymore. This is like asking them to cheat on me since they seem to have the same sick fantasies.
Oh my god.
He's preying on her and I know it. She looks too much like the girls he dated before, and her daddy issues and the money he waves in front of her face will obviously let her walk right into his trap should he decide to steal her from me. Since girlfriend and my brother don't see what I mean or are really good at hiding it, I asked my father to intervene, but he literally told me that he doesn't mind and that I am being irrational. He even said that I always was this jealous when it comes to my older brother and that I should be the one to finally grow up. So there is no help to expect from my family apparently, simply because my brother always was and will be the golden child and I get treated like trash. Tonight, my girlfriend announced that she wants to go to college since she was never in a position to do so. Congratulations for her.
Good on her.
Perfect. Another expense. I told her that I couldn't afford it and she said that she would pay for it herself. Now, how would she do that? She says with the money that she earns for working for my brother. How much does he effing pay her? Why are you mad about this?
You know women shouldn't be paid as much as men, right, brother?
Why are you so mad?
This is ridiculous.
It's literally just like you're explaining how it works to order at Chipotle. And he's
Yeah.
like, no, what? What do you mean I pick between these two different rices? Like, that doesn't make any sense. He's just mad about everything that's brought his way.
Yeah.
I asked her to help pay the bills instead and finally contribute to our living expenses. I want to marry her and have a family, and I can't wait forever until she's done with school and paid off her debts. As I mentioned before, I want a bigger house and that she helps me pay off my car. I told her that, and girlfriend got uncommonly angry, another behavior probably caused by spending too much time with my brother, and yelled at me, saying that she does help me pay the bills. She said that since it's my car and I'm the only one using it, it's my responsibility, especially because she told me not to buy a G-Wagon I couldn't afford. We also wouldn't need a bigger house since we have a guest bedroom and enough room for the two of us. For explanation, she moved into my house when we became a couple. I told her that I'd pay the mortgage since I'm the owner of the house and she is responsible for groceries, cleaning products, etc. By the way, you know what you're responsible for? You have to listen to us on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever your favorite podcast app is. Just search OK Storytime. You're going to find full episodes with more stories just like this one. It's your responsibility. You better get on it. There is a little bit more to the story, but
OP has not learned a single thing
no.
in this story. OP has had no semblance of self-reflection.
Yep.
I gave you advice. You didn't take it. Rude of you.
Rude.
People in the comments of the Reddit post gave you advice. Doesn't seem like you took it.
No.
And now you're jealous of your brother, who
Yeah.
I am wary of.
Yep.
But at least he's paying your girlfriend so
Yeah.
she can go to college,
And a
which
place
you're
to stay.
against, and giving her a place to stay.
But there is a little bit more to the story. I tried to argue that I want children and have, since forever, been dreaming of a space just for myself, and that only works with a bigger house. That was when she decided to go for the jugular, telling me that she didn't want any children anytime soon and wanted to go to college first before even thinking of having some.
Shock.
What?
Wow. Shock.
No. Also, I could just turn our basement or the guest bedroom into my man cave. Then she left and by now hasn't returned home. She texted me that she was sleeping at her office, but I am 1000% sure it's my brother's bed she's sleeping in. No matter how hard I'm trying, she seems to not care about our relationship or future. And that is the end of that story. I've been hiding my homelessness from my girlfriend, and it's getting hard.
It's getting hard. It's probably been hard the whole time.
I'm 18 male, and I'm dating my girlfriend who just turned 20. I've been in foster care since I was 13. I lucked out when I was younger. I had some good homes, but the most recent one I had was really bad. By the way, this comes from Icy Resident 772, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit, and we'll read it. So, I've been homeless for 1 month now. It's been exhausting hiding it from my girlfriend. One of the jobs I work is at a local martial arts gym in my city, which I sneak back into at night because I have keys for lockup. I am pretty sure that the owner knows that I'm sleeping here because there are cameras. He hasn't said anything though. Sometimes he leaves me food, so I'm doing okay for being homeless. I'm saving up and I'm trying to find another job so I can make money faster and find a place to live. I'm staying out of trouble. I don't drink booze and I don't do substances. My girlfriend lives in a university dorm with a roommate. She goes to a prestigious school that she worked really hard to get into. Tonight, she said, I have sad eyes, and she asked me if something was wrong. I wanted to break down and tell her everything. Instead, I said I was sleepy and hugged her, then made a joke which distracted her and changed the topic. I know in a relationship you're supposed to be honest, but I guess I have pride or something. All these years growing up, there were so many times that I felt like I had no dignity, so it's really hard for me to let go of this pride or whatever you want to call it. It's hard to explain. Besides, she can't really help me. It would just be adding to her stress. So am I the a-hole for thinking that I can find a place, get settled in, and basically fix this problem and then tell her? I see these on TikTok all the time, and I know what I'm asking is not the same as wedding drama or marriage drama, but I thought I would give it a shot with this being anonymous and all. I mean, there are some comments. Joyful Stitches 96 says not the a-hole, but it sounds like you're talking yourself out of opening up to her about this. She might not be able to fix everything, but she can offer support. It sounds like you could really use that right now. Angry Dresser says agreed. Also, OP, I'm sorry. I've been homeless myself, but you don't deserve to be 18 dealing with all this. No one does, but you are just in a position that I know many go through, but I wish no one experienced. OP says, I'm sorry you had to deal with homelessness too. Deep down, I know I'm lucky for the circumstances I do have, like the ability to crash in my boss's gym. It's a lot better than being at a shelter. Those honestly scare me. BB401 for real says, my now husband was living between friends' houses and a direct provision center when we met. He is a very proud man and was vague or wouldn't discuss where he lived or allow me to drop him anywhere, and said things like he was going to visit friends at night. And he was always so upbeat and caring towards me that it seemed like a small thing, so I didn't push it. He's also a really hard worker and works day and night. I initially worried that he didn't trust me to see his house in case I turned stalker or something. I thought with all the working hours, maybe he had already had a family or something like that, except he added me on his social media and openly walked around town with me, so that didn't make sense. I totally didn't realize the things he must have been going through till way later, till we had our own place. And I accidentally saw an old document that he had with the DP address as his address, and it all made sense how he is always helping people who he meets who have a hard time. Bringing friends and getting them a couch to sleep on, etc. At the time, he helped me with any problems I was having, but is very religious and used to tell me that he shared his problems with God, and me being in my little happy self and spending time with him was enough for me to do to help him back. From the woman's perspective, I respect him so much. He didn't lie to me, but he kind of made it clear what he did and didn't want to talk about, and I respected and accepted that. I have a good job and my own money, but he always liked to pay for things like if we got coffee, etc. Things were probably very hard for him, but I'm glad that I didn't push it and forced him to be vulnerable with me about his fears and circumstances because I know him and that would have damaged his pride in himself. Sorry for the long rambling reply. I suppose what I'm trying to say is once you don't make her question how you feel about her, it's okay to struggle and be a man and keep your pride in her eyes. Yeah, I feel like it's definitely up to you what you want to talk about for sure. I hate that makes you feel like opening up about that makes you feel less prideful, because it's not really your fault, any of this,
No, but it's like, it's the messaging we're giving her a lot of our lives. It's like, to be a provider. And then it's like, well, if you can't provide yourself with the basic stuff, and then there's people out there who are really shallow. And there are people out there who would go, oh, all right, bye.
Right.
Brokey. Like,
right.
Stuff happens. And it's horrible. So, makes sense.
Yeah. But I'm sure that, if she's a good girlfriend, then hopefully she would still support you.
Yes.
Of course.
I should give my actual take along with that. You should talk to your girlfriend because you would want to know either way if she was someone who would just leave you or if she's someone who would help you. So you still have to just talk to her.
Yeah. And it's okay to lean on your girlfriend for support. That's what they're there for. OP responds to that comment. This was really inspiring. I'm really glad that you shared this with me. I actually read it over 2 times because it made me feel less bad about myself. I want to be that kind of man one day like your husband. I try to show up for my girlfriend and the few people in my life, not as a burden, but someone that they can rely on. Normally, I'm really good at presenting myself a certain way no matter what's happening to me. I will go as far as to hide injuries, and I think I have a really high pain tolerance now. I'm always smiling, and I like to focus on other people, not myself. But lately, I'm working a lot more, and even though I have a place to sleep every night, there's this stress that never leaves. So I guess I'm not as convincing as I usually am because I'm too tired. I don't know what I'm saying right now. What was the point I was trying to make? I need to sleep. But you said, quote, he didn't lie to me, but he kind of made it clear what he did and didn't want to talk about, and I respected and accepted that. Maybe I could try approaching it somehow just like that. So the consensus from the comments is that OP is not the a-hole.
Well, thank God they're not saying that the 18-year-old homeless boy is an a-hole.
Yeah. And that thing, I feel like, obviously this is a hard time for him right now, but So, you probably don't have the time or the mental space to address, like, keeping things in, but that might be something to think about later in life and reflect on. You don't have to keep things in to just be happy all the time for other people.
Yeah, no, because that'll make you go insane.
Oh, yeah. You'll break down. But we do have an update. Howdy. I just wanted to come back and share that I ended up confiding in my girlfriend about my homelessness. She was devastated for me, but ultimately, I'm really glad that I pushed myself to tell her the truth. It was really eating at me, and it was a huge relief in itself to no longer be carrying that around on top of everything else. We're still together, also a huge relief. My girlfriend is keeping my homelessness a secret. One thing I haven't shared with her, or anyone really outside of you guys, is that I continue to struggle with feelings of shame and inadequacy about the situation, but I know those are more my internal dialogue and not necessarily how others perceive me, given that they don't really know. I'm trying really hard to keep my head up and maintain my self-worth and convince myself that I'm not trash. I also ended up telling the owner of the gym that I've been crashing at what I've been doing. As I suspected, he knew about it, but doesn't want to acknowledge it for insurance purposes, so essentially, this conversation didn't happen. He said that I can keep doing it given that I find housing ASAP. I have to move on to a new place to sleep if I'm still homeless in a few weeks. By the way, for weeks on end, we will have stories for you just like this one on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts. Just search OK Storytime. Weeks and weeks and weeks. They will never ever end.
Huzzah!
So stay with us.
You could watch them all on 2 times speed. It'd still take you an entire month.
Yeah. There is a little bit more to the story. Do we have any final thoughts before we move on?
Keeping secrets is a burden, and there's people who will literally like take stuff all the way to their deathbed, and then they'll be like, "Oh, wait, this one thing," and it's like, yeah, get in front of it. You don't want to have a secret your whole life for you to keep, and you shouldn't, have to keep this a secret from your girlfriend. Maybe
Totally.
not let it go on the first date, right?
Sure,
but
Yeah, I think in general, like, if you're putting all this work into being there for other people, like, you can let yourself lean on them in exchange, like, that's kind of the give and take of friendships and girlfriends, people that are close to you, like, if you're there for them, they're for you. So take advantage of that. Maybe don't take advantage of them, but like, let yourself relax a bit. Okay. But there's a little bit more to the story. So I've got 2 places pending that I know are strongly considering me. I'd happily take either one. Affordable housing here is really difficult to come by and very competitive. There's a lot of interest per listing. I started expanding my search area and this helped, although my commute is going to be rough. Thanks again to everyone who commented on my other post. Some more comments are from Ray's Walk. You have people in your life that care about you. Keep your head up and you will get through this. Cherry Snuggles says absolutely. The support OP's gotten proves that they're not alone in this, even if it feels like it sometimes. Owning the truth like that takes serious strength, and it's clear that they've got people who truly care. One step at a time, they've got this. Puns and Roses 420 says, honestly, man, I'm so sorry to hear that you're going through this, and I'm sending you an air hug. Sometimes just being able to confide in people about the awful things that happen can be a source of relief and just help with relieving the intense pressure and stress, if nothing else, and even if the problems aren't fixed. Being open about your situation is tough, but for whatever it's worth, I'm honestly proud of you for being brave enough to do it. Being 18 in the world is already hard enough. Having to face it out of an unpleasant foster situation and with the stack you've been given isn't fair or right, but I can tell from what you've written that you've been fighting to get to where you need to go. You'll get there. You deserve to be happy and have a place to call yours. You deserve to feel safe and get away from the stress that you've been under. OP says, thank you so much, man, from the bottom of my heart. I feel really glad that I posted here. I know that we're all strangers, but it's been so impactful for me to read the comments. Thank you for taking time to do that. It's hard to explain, but I needed the boost that you gave me. It rewired how I view myself for the better. And that is the end of the story. What a lovely ending.
Huzzah.
I have a tattoo of my female friend. My girlfriend hates it.
I didn't know you and Aphrodite were that tight.
For this post, I'll call my friend Julia. She passed away 5 years ago. She was my first and best friend growing up. Our families are close, so we've been friends since we were babies. There were no romantic feelings ever. Just a best friend / sister. By the way, this comes from Throwaway. You'd stay. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, we were big fans of pop punk, alt emo music, specifically the band called The Wonder Years. The last album she was alive to hear was their No Closer to Heaven album, and we both got We're No Saviors If We Can't Save Our Brothers.
tattooed on us, which is a line said on a couple songs throughout the album. She passed away from a car accident. Saddest moment in my life was hearing that news.
Ugh.
I have a lot of tattoos on both of my arms and back. I got her name tattooed with a heart around it and a date. That band has released 2 albums since Julia's death, and I have gotten lyrics that I feel like she would like the most tattooed. I've been dating my current girlfriend for the last 2 years, and it's been great. I love her a lot. We really work as a couple. She asked me why I have Julia with a heart tattooed on me, and I understand why that would be off-putting. Like if she had Steve and a heart, I would be curious as well. I told her about it, and she thought it was sweet. But over time, I can tell whenever I take my shirt off, she sees that Julia tattoo, and it irks her. Last week, the Wonder Years released a new album, and I got You're the Reason I Won't Want the World to End tattooed. She asked me about it, and I told her about how I have gotten a tattoo for every album they have released since Julia's death. This got her really upset that I am getting cute lyrics tattooed for another woman.
Low key, I feel like this gives off the same vibes as if like your first wife dies.
Yes, no, well, absolutely. But even less that because they weren't even romantically involved or into each other.
Oh.
Like this is basically his sister. I told her that she was just my friend, but she's upset. The other lyric I have from the album before this is From the Ground, We Look Like Lightning. She seemed really put off by this, and I don't know how to explain. Anytime I tell her about how deep our friendship was, she gets more upset. I want to mend this problem, but it also has me worried about our future relationship now. Is this going to be a deal breaker in the future? Julia was my best friend, and it was never romantic. She would make handcrafted necklaces and jewelry, and I have one of them hanging from my mirror in my car, and I don't think that's weird. My girlfriend is very understanding usually, so her reacting this way is new to me. It's making me wonder if doing this is a bad thing. And there is an edit, actually stored edit. I have a lot of tattoos and tattoos for other friends that passed away as well, and just general tattoos. My back and arms are covered. Edit 2, I have a similar tattoo tradition with a male friend that overdosed in high school. And there is an update.
So he does it for everyone. This is sort of his way to honor the dead.
People, yes.
That made me feel, okay, yeah, this is like if you passed away and I decided to get some tofu on my leg. So it's like, Sophia.
I think every time I think of Sophia, think of that tofu.
Yep, I eat tofu on Mondays just for Sophia.
Aw, that's really nice.
That makes sense. But if it's like I have a shrine of you in my room after you pass, like is that crossing the line?
I think there are ways that you can kind of not go overboard, but that you can be lost within grief. Where you're not over that person and it's like an unhealthy amount. Like, we see stories where a person is not over their partner and they shouldn't be in a relationship because they aren't over that loss.
Yeah.
I don't think that's it for OP at all. I think he has, he's trying to honor this person in a way he does for all of the people in his life that he's lost. Even if it wasn't all of the people, if it was just her, I think that would still be fine. But there is an update. I know this sub doesn't like people posting updates, yada, yada, yada. I want to clear up a misconception. I am not a constantly mournful person that thinks about passed away friends and self-harm all the time. The Wonder Years do make music that is mainly about losing friends, but it is cathartic. I have tattoos for Julia, passed away family members, and my other close friend that passed in high school. But I'm not just living in the past all the time. I get a tattoo when the Wonder Years drops an album, which isn't often. Since her passing, they have dropped 2 albums and they've been making music since I was like 13. They even said this could be the last album. I don't have a body full of lyrics. I have my male friend who passed tattooed on me with his name and a heart as well. I have a similar lyric tradition with him, but a different band. My girlfriend is a very understanding person and great. I love her to death, and this isn't how she usually reacts to things. My friends and these tattoos are very important to me. I got my first The Wonder Years tattoo with Julia in 2015 when we had just graduated high school. We both got we're no saviors if we can't save our brothers. So getting a new tattoo whenever they drop is important to me. I was going to stand my ground on that. Julia was my best friend and sister. Our families are close even to this day. I go to her parents' house and go to their family events frequently, and I am like a son. We were literally in the crib together as babies. There was no romance. My girlfriend told me that she had been cheated on or didn't know information in past relationships, so this was a sore spot for her. You can't be cheated on with the person who's not alive. Like, it doesn't make, like, she's like, oh, I've had experiences where I've been cheated on, but like,
I just really have a messed up thing in my head where like there is a way. But yeah, no, there, like, she passed before you guys got together. He's honoring her.
He literally cannot cheat on you with this person.
Yeah, so
she didn't really know about Julia. She knew I had lost friends, but I don't live in the past and talk about people who passed away all the time. My back and arms are full of tattoos, and I have a bunch on my chest too, so I haven't told her the meaning behind every tattoo. She noticed I got the "you're the reason I don't want the world to end" newly tattooed and asked me about this, and that started that. I think that if I had told her earlier on about my tattoo tradition with lyrics, she would have understood, but just that tattoo for another woman with no context, I completely get why she was upset. I told her that I understand how it looks, but Julia was my best friend. I see comments about her being in competition. To me, that's like if I had a sister and someone said that my girlfriend was in competition with my sister. Just sounds effing weird to me.
Mm-hmm.
So many offensive LOL, you walk around with a passed away girl on your arm. When in the post, I talk about how I have the same tradition with a male friend, but that isn't considered weird. It's crazy that male and female friendships are not seen as equal. If she was a passed away male friend that was memorialized with tattoos or in her own way, I wouldn't care. But I'm biased because I've lost many friends. When my good friend passed in high school, Julia got his name and a heart tattooed on her as well. Anyway, I've been talking to her and telling her that I understand how she feels, but this is something I have to stand my ground on. Tattoos are just a thing I get to. When I got my first car, someone broke into my car once and stole the spare change I had in my center console, and I got a tattoo of a broken window. It's just fun to me. Yeah, I mean, like, some people use tattoos as kind of a, like, their body is a canvas. And yeah, like, it's very common to get something, like, it doesn't necessarily have to be meaningful, but sometimes it is. And, you know, it's creative expression. And for someone to say you can't do that, or you have limits to what you can do, especially when they're as ridiculous as saying you can't, like, put your, you can't, like, have a memorial for your friend.
Sounds like you guys aren't on the same page. It might not.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that maybe she's not understanding fully. Like, maybe he hasn't explained to his girlfriend what their tradition is. So maybe we start there. My girlfriend called me like an hour ago and told me that she listened to the latest album from the Wonder Years and that it made her cry completely. Okay. So she's taken some interest. She also listened to the songs from previous albums that I have tattooed on me. She just told me I get it. The few fans of the Wonder Years that found my post got it. If you've listened to the band, they have so very few romantic songs. Most of their songs are about friends passing away or just being anxious about the future and bad things happening. My favorite line from them is, "You start remembering the anniversaries of bad things." My girlfriend is not into emo and alt culture, but she listened to the album that they just put out. She said after one song she was crying, and that when she heard the context of "You're the reason I don't want the world to end," she realized how unromantic it is and how it makes sense. She was at work and on break, but we spent time talking about things I don't talk about. You know what? Really quick, I think we're going in a great direction. I do think he just didn't explain well. I think he just, like, she was totally under a misconception of what these tattoos meant and who they were for, and I feel like now he's finally actually explaining them. I told her about Julia and some other dark experiences and other losses I've had growing up. We have a good and healthy relationship. This experience taught me that it's better if I was more open to the people close to me. Yeah. It probably would have, I mean, like, obviously talking about loss is hard, but I probably would have avoided a lot of these, or this whole situation. If she knew more about Julia, this wouldn't have been a problem. From her perspective, it's just an old friend that passed that I have a tattoo on in a heart. But when I explained it more, she understood. So that is my fault for not explaining Julia well to her. When she asked early on in the relationship, I just said my best friend that passed away. I guess in avoiding trying to be the downer guy, I left a lot up to her own interpretation. So she did ask, and he just didn't really go into it. I also explained to her my other tattoos for my other friend with lyrics, and he is one I hardly talk about. Julia was like my sister, and her life was suddenly cut off, so it's nice to talk about the past. With my friend that passed, he struggled with sobriety since like age 10. Oof. In and out of rehabs and would be found passed out somewhere miles from home. His life was hard, so I rarely ever talk about him. He was the friend you always knew would pass away someday, but it opened up dialogue and she's more understanding now. I explained the LGFUAD, let's get effed up and pass away. The future freaks me out, and I like the universe tattoos too that I have in his memory as well. Things are better. We were already close, but it feels like this was something that needed to happen someday anyway. I don't appreciate the comments calling my girlfriend harsh names. A lot of comments also seemed very insensitive. From childhood to now, I probably have lost half of my friends from substance abuse, accidents, self-harm, and I don't have all of them tattooed.
Wow.
A lot of replies felt like, yeah, you've had traumatic loss, but LOL, remove the tattoos, who cares?
That's just Reddit, man. You just gotta.
Some people are just.
Whatever you post on Reddit, post and you just skim through the losers and you look at the insightful ones.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
By the way, you can be insightful with us if you listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left to the story.
How do you have a girlfriend and not have deep conversations with them about these things? I don't know. That just seems to be like something you'd bring up.
I think OP is very like guarded about these emotions and stuff.
Got it.
And I think that's like something that he needs to go to therapy for. I think she probably needs to go to therapy for trauma from like cheating and
Getting
stuff.
cheated on, yeah.
Just not saying it's like super, like a super huge problem, because it does seem like they solved it with communication. But I think both of them probably would benefit from some therapy. Things are better, and I think this experience is overall good for our relationship. I feel more open than I have ever been. I always received a lot of doubt that the Wonder Years do not make only traumatic songs and that I must be over-exaggerating. This song best describes the content of like 70% of their music.
This was all an ad for another
Dang
YouTube
it.
video.
Edit. Also, the lyric tattoos are based on lyrics they liked / I thought they'd like the most. Not what makes me think of them the most. I'm not getting let's get effed up and die going like, this was our friendship. Yeah.
My girlfriend discovered I took one for the team. She got upset.
Are we playing for the other team now? Is that what we're talking about?
I want to figure out what team we're talking about. About 2 years ago, I was at a party with a friend of mine, Josh. Me and Josh were just vibing to the music and chilling when he suddenly spots 2 girls. The one he was interested in was this pretty blonde, while the other was her quote-unquote heavier friend. That's not to say her friend was unattractive, but just a little noticeably bigger than what would be considered average body weight. Anyway, Josh turned to me and urged me to be his wingman by taking one for the team and distracting her friend while he chatted with the blonde. After a little back and forth, I decided to just do it to be a good friend. By the way, this comes from user MasterHalf8275. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, we made our way over and made our move, where I would go in first and start chatting with the friend while Josh began flirting with the girl he was interested in. Again, this friend I was talking to was by no means unattractive, just a bit heavier than what most guys, myself included at the time, would go for. I thought she was very sweet, even though I was just talking to her out of obligation. It didn't really matter anyway, because ultimately the girl Josh was into already had a boyfriend apparently, and had seemingly brushed him off, with him eventually patting me on the back to signify I didn't have to chat with her friend anymore. So I decided to politely end the conversation. However, not before she asked for my Instagram, which I decided to give her. I didn't really think much of it at the time, and I was certain I would never see her again. However, a couple days later, I ran into the same girl in my school's campus store. I didn't really recognize her at first, but she seemed to know me immediately. We decided to chat for a bit, and I was reminded of her name, Megan. Not her real name, by the way. Anyways, it was really just small talk until Megan suddenly seemed a little awkward. I asked her if everything was all right, and she replied that nothing was wrong, but she wanted to know if I wanted to go out with her sometime. This actually came as a shock to me, as it was the first time a girl had ever made the first move and asked me out. So even though she wasn't really my type at the time, I said yes. And that was probably the best decision of my life.
Aww.
Me and Megan really hit it off. And before long, we were in a serious relationship. Any qualms I had about her weight were gone immediately after the first time we had the spicy sleep, as I actually found her body to be really soft and comforting. Good for you, OP. I had never felt so relaxed cuddling with someone before I met her.
Aww.
We've been dating for 2 years now, and I absolutely love her. She's my everything, and I have even been thinking of proposing as soon as we're both done with school. Everything was perfect until last month. Last month, we hosted a small get-together just for a few friends who are also in relationships, like a couple's game night sort of thing. It was here where Josh, who has been my good friend for years now, was pretty wasted and made a joke about how if he had never forced me to take one for the team back then, I would have never found the love of my life. The joke didn't really register to me as anything negative, and I was also wasted, so I just laughed it off. Megan was cuddled up next to me on the couch, though, and asked what Josh meant by that. I told her nothing, but Josh, being the wasted idiot that he was, elaborated and told her the story about how we met through my perspective at the time. Megan just said, "Oh," and didn't really react, so I figured she had just brushed it off. Oh, no. No. That was the wrong assumption.
Poor Megan.
You needed to damage control that immediately. However, the rest of the night, she seemed kind of distant and even a little sad. Finally, once everyone had left, she let it all out and started crying.
Aww.
She was essentially in shock because this whole time, she thought I approached her then because I was interested in her, and learning it was because I was forced to seemed to bring back old insecurities within her.
Aww.
It doesn't help that she's actually gained weight since back then, even though I don't really have any problem with that and have told her that multiple times. I immediately gave her the full story about how I fell for her right after that, and I have loved and adored her ever since. She seemed reassured, and we even cuddled the whole night after that. Since that night, though, she's been acting differently. It's like she's lost her confidence around me. She only wears large, baggy clothing, even though she used to never do that before. She refuses to change with me in the room and hardly eats in front of me.
Oh my gosh. This girl. I feel so bad.
Brother, you need to do more damage control.
You gotta do a lot. She's hurt, man.
You need to get, unbelievably vulnerable with her if you want this to go back to normal.
Yeah. This all could have been better with just a different choice of words. Using the word forced, I forced him to talk to her, not a good choice. Not a good choice. It could have just been yeah, he was helping me out and talk to her friend. OP was oh, you're gonna make me talk to this overweight person, which wasn't even true about her, first of all. And then also not a bad thing and not even what he was thinking. So
damage control, buddy. Damage control. Go. Before, I used to playfully tickle her stomach sometimes and she'd always smile and play along. Now she seems insecure when I so much as accidentally graze it. She also refuses to have spicy sleep without a shirt on. So far, I sat her down multiple times and explained that her body is incredibly attractive to me and there's no one more beautiful in my eyes than her, but it's like she doesn't believe me. Lately, I've been thinking about offering her to come to the gym with me, but I'm scared she may be more insecure at that suggestion. Yeah, that's the wrong kind of damage control. How do I get her to believe that I love her no matter what she looks like? That I truly adore her in all aspects? I just want her to be confident in herself again. And there's an update. I don't know what I would say other than I know what I would do and I would just try to be funny, but that's just me.
Yeah.
I've been in that situation actually now that I think about it, because I was dating somebody and they became convinced I was no longer attracted to them because we had a pregnancy scare.
Oh, okay.
And I was super freaked out about doing anything unprotected at all. But she said that people don't have that much anxiety and that it was just a cover for me not liking her. And I was like, what?
Not true.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know, because I broke it down. I gave her the root of the issue.
Yeah, I feel like I have to try to explain the situation again. Because again, that choice of words, not great. Saying that he was forced to talk to her and that he was just taking one for the team as if she was so unapproachable and ugly, you know? Like, try to explain that again and be like, hey, no, I always thought you were beautiful. Like, it was never a thing. It just happened that way. I just wouldn't have, well, maybe not saying that you wouldn't have talked to her if that didn't happen.
No, I think you should. I think you should say that because it's honest. It's real. Just because that's how it happened doesn't mean that it's necessarily bad. It's like, clearly now he's in love with you and wants to be with you. He didn't then because he just didn't know.
Yeah, he just didn't know how wonderful of a person she was.
Yeah, so in a way, it's almost like a good thing, but it's hard. Hard to convince a partner that you believe something that you believe when they think you don't. Update. First off, I just want to express how grateful I am to everyone who commented. I wasn't expecting to get this many comments, and even though I really didn't reply to many, I certainly read the majority of them. It's only been a day since I made my post, so I don't really have any real updates, but I just wanted to clarify a couple things. A lot of comments seem to have the idea that me and my friends have secretly been making fun of Megan behind her back for years, and I can assure that is not the case at all. I love Megan, and I would never intentionally make a hurtful joke at her expense, nor would I let any of my friends. At the time, I believed the joke Josh made to be at my expense, not Megan's. Sort of like making fun of me for not opening my horizons. I see now how hurtful it came across, but trust me, I would not have laughed it off had I known that back then. It was also essentially the first time I had really even thought about the circumstances surrounding our first meeting in a long time. There's also been a lot of misconceptions about the story I told in my post versus how Josh and I told it to Megan on that night. First, I'd like to reiterate again that both me and him were pretty wasted and that even Megan was tipsy at that time. Josh basically told her that I was helping him out by talking to her that night we met, which I know is still an awful way of putting it, believe me. I know. I later elaborated and said I was just playing wingman at first because I didn't see how amazing she truly was until our first date. Keep in mind, however, that I was still wasted during this elaboration. I mean,
we gotta have more conversations where we're sober about this.
Yeah. In hindsight, when first typing this post, I should not have used the words pretty or heavier, but I wasn't really putting too much thought into it as I knew it was a long story. But trust me when I say I did not put it that way to Megan. I know either way I screwed up by telling her about it, but as I said in a previous comment, I kind of panicked out of fear that she may take it in a worse manner. A lot of you seem to think I am some sort of predatory D-bag who objectifies my own girlfriend, and I want to cut that interpretation off immediately. I love this woman. I truly believe I want to spend the rest of my life with her. I want her to feel comfortable and sexy around me. The only reason I talked so much about how beautiful I find her body is because her body and how I view it is what seems to be the source of her insecurities right now. I genuinely find it appalling that some people in the comments have this idea that think I'm doing a service or something because I'm with a bigger girl. I love her truly and wholeheartedly. And by the way, you can truly and wholeheartedly listen to full episodes with stories just like this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search OK Storytime. Just do that.
So easy.
And you can listen to over 2,000 episodes.
So many.
Wow. But we have just a little bit more story here.
I'm glad that he's elaborating a bit more. I feel like you were saying earlier, it's hard to convince someone that you believe something when they are convinced that you don't. Because with this kind of thing, it's like you just have to take my word for it. If you say that you're attracted to someone, but they believe that you don't, they're just going to believe that you're lying, you know?
Anyways, those are just some clarifications I wanted to make clear based on the comments I've been seeing. Again, I want to thank everyone who responded with practical, genuine advice. As many of you stated, this is something I have to work on slowly over time. So I don't think I'll be updating this anytime soon. However, I am considering bringing up the possibility of seeing a couples counselor or therapist, as I believe she needs to stop ignoring the issue and be fully open about it. I'm just scared that she may have an anxiety attack or something if I do, because as I mentioned in some comments, she's very anxious when it comes to addressing relationship issues. I might update if we do end up doing that though. Thank you, everyone. And that is the end of that story. If she really can't believe that you care about her, let's figure out couples counseling.
If she has had insecurities about this before and she's retreating to these things of like wearing baggy clothes and like not eating that much in front of you, it's like those are some actions that are like attached to some deeply rooted insecurities and traumas or something. So just therapy in general would be great for sure.
Indeed. But that is the end of that story.